like to call this meeting to order. This is the Ortonville Village Council. The clock at the Old Town Hall seems to be a few minutes behind because it is for sure 7 o'clock right now.
Old.
Say again?
It is old.
Yeah, it is. If we could all rise, I'd like to ask our newest council member, Ashley Mold, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks very much. If anyone here does not know who Ashley is, she was just appointed to this board at our last meeting, so she is officially on the village council. It was a closed session meeting, so not a lot of audience people got to be there, so I just wanted to make sure I gave her an introduction. Now that she's been introduced, I could have a roll call for the whole council.
President Quisenberry?
I'm here.
Foster?
Here.
Nivell?
Here.
Mold?
Here.
Hayden?
Here.
Green?
Here.
Brooks? Here.
Okay, that's the entire council. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. We got a couple different forms of this, and we got a newer one just when we came in today. But I looked at it briefly, and it seems like it meets our requirements for this evening.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
And the most recent one?
In the most recent one. It is dated up at the top, February 23rd, 7 p.m., Old Town Hall. So that information we know is correct. Moved and supported. Those in favor of the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the agenda is approved. Next is approval of council minutes. These are minutes that the village held on a Monday, January 26th, also a special meeting on February the 12th, and also a village council public hearing for township minutes on February 16th. We should take those one at a time.
I make a motion to approve the village council regular meeting minutes of January 26th, 2026.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
And I just wanted to confirm that all the edits that I brought in were corrected, because we just got them, so I can't compare, time to compare both. Okay. And did you do the corrections, or did you?
I did.
You did? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the motion? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, those are accepted. The next ones are from February the 12th.
I make a motion to accept the village meetings from February 12th.
Okay, so moved and supported. Any further discussion on the meeting of February the 12th? Moved and supported and no discussion. Those in favor of February the 12th say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those pass. Next up is a meeting that was held on February the 16th.
Moving to approve the minutes for the meeting on February 16th, 2026.
Support.
Okay, that's the most recent one that we're going to have to approve for tonight. And if there's a motion and support, is there any further discussion on those minutes?
Yes, the list of questions that we got in that day, have we started compiling a list together of those? To answer that yet?
I can't answer that. I mean,
I will tell you what I have done. I encouraged the lady who brought the entire sheet that she said she couldn't read to send that to me via email, into my email, which she did. And I did go through and address each question. They were mostly, many of them were spoken about in the Citizen, but not all. You know, I know her top comment was, can we put things on the website?
Yeah.
So I think I don't know who needs to approve what we put on the website as an answer, but again, everything that was on there was pretty straightforward. You know, like who decides that, and it was all kind of addressed already, so.
Can you share that then with council?
Yes.
Because that's something that really, answers like that should really come from Ken or
Yes.
village manager, but
I wasn't sure exactly how to
Yeah.
deal with it. I
Yeah.
did make sure that I kept a copy, and I did print it out. I have it with me
awesome, thank
as
you.
well. And again, I tried to be, make sure I did not insert any opinion. And again, I also referred to the Citizen and the article in the Citizen that came out on Saturday.
Okay, and then I have a question too, kind of going off of Alex's, the slips that were at the meeting and filled out with questions, where did those slips go? Who has those?
I have about 6 of them
Okay.
that I collected during the meeting.
Okay, and so will those be given to, is the
They
village
will
manager
be. I
doing the
had a
list?
chance to read them over. A couple that were the good ones were actually answered, but a couple were, I wouldn't call them legible at all, but I'll certainly provide them to everybody.
We should we should have to make a decision on what
The
it's
process will
posted
be.
and how it's vetted before it's posted.
And
Yep.
two further points, the last 2 points. Caitlin and I both were taking written notes of every question that was given audibly. And so her and I will be connecting this week to put together, make sure we understood the questions and answers, we got the names correct, that kind of thing. And whatever we do as far as the repository goes with all 3 of these sources of information, that'll be part of it. You did, Trustee Brooks, you mentioned a question about what goes on the website. I've given this update kind of, but probably not thoroughly enough. So Trustee Randazzo had access to the website, and so did our former clerk. Since they've both been gone, we don't have anyone who has access to it, and so I've been working with Revise to get access. Trustee Mold has volunteered because she has some website building experience. She's volunteered to help me get things caught up once we have access. So I probably sent 30 requests today to get those credentials and still don't have them, but I'm not going to give up on getting them as quickly as possible.
My concern was who decides what we can put on there. You know, how is that vetted?
Yeah, I think that in the past, my understanding is the village manager did it because it pops up in my calendar as a reminder.
Okay.
But I don't know if there is a written authority regarding that anywhere. I can look and see if there is if no one here knows or has in their mind a current policy, I can look and see if we have something. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if we do or not, but that is something, if we don't have a policy, that we probably should look into.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming up with one. Regarding all the sources of the questions, Alex, that meeting was recorded, correct?
It was, and it's
So
available.
Okay, so we could also refer back to the recording if there's, for any final clarification on exactly what was
Absolutely. My only thing, the reason why I asked is I didn't physically see those pieces of paper personally, so
No,
I just was asking about them.
Yeah, they were just
Yeah.
little small
Yeah,
strips.
I just, with
And I
everything else
ended up-
happening, they were happening at the other end of the table, so I just wanted to make sure that we are answering those questions in
Yeah.
particular.
I was just thinking that if there was anything unclear about what was said, and, we're talking about people taking notes and stuff, and sharing notes to build up the questions, but we have it on record, so that'd be the clearest way to make sure we get it right.
And just to clarify, that's a regular part of the practice when Caitlin and I get together to talk about
Okay.
meeting notes or anything like that. We do have the video on hand, so that I assume that would be part of our process as well.
Okay, great.
And just one last note, there were, I did give the titles to all of those that were on the front page that were present, that were, whether they're with the Brandon Township or planning, DDA, whatnot. And I had some corrections on this County. But I think it's important to capture those that especially are attending from the township as the whole petition process goes through. So that's why I had them as the titles. So we keep accurate and thorough records on this.
You saw those made it on the updated one? Is it?
I just did, yeah,
Okay.
I just had hand done.
Just
Yep.
making sure.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, next up, we have acceptance items. These are things that come before the village in the normal course of business. We have 3 of them this time. The DEA's minutes from their January 12th meeting, a treasurer's report dated January 2026, and also a receipt of annual Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance Sponsored Breakfast Invite. Those are things that we've always been received, and we will accept those.
Oh, and don't forget the Streets Committee meeting minutes.
Yeah, that's
I don't see it in there.
That's the new, that's
That's
the.
16.
Oh. Okay. And there's some street committee meetings in here as well.
What happened to your new agenda?
I don't know. I mean, what, right?
It should be right on top of your big packet there, isn't it? Is that?
We have a purple thing for it. Oh, purple sheet.
Oh, here it is. I got it. This is the new.
Ah, okay.
And Ashley, just to make sure that you're,
I saw it. It's
did you
fancy.
get this?
Yes.
And it's hanging on your wall somewhere prominently, I've spelled it.
I'll give her a color copy.
Okay, those are the acceptance items. On to approval of disbursements, we have in here payables ending January 31st, and also revenue and expense report dated January 31st. Just so I can point this out, your Brandon Groveland Youth thing is the 19th of March. For payables, it looks like totals are $76,287. Does anyone have a chance to look over the?
I have some questions.
Same.
Oh, we need the motion.
Need a
So just to clarify, the total amount is 76. You see the second column is the village amount. So the general fund amount is that 50,700.
Yes, but we dispersed the 76, so that's what we have to approve.
Well, yes, it includes DDA expenses and things that don't actually hit ours, but I just wanted to be sure that everyone understood that was that, because this is a newer format, so.
Okay, Kay, I think you had a couple of questions as well.
Mine was more
Is there a
on,
motion?
We haven't done a motion.
Oh, we haven't done it yet?
There you
Okay.
No.
A motion.
Well, I'm not even sure what the amount, which column we're going with.
I'll make a motion to accept the payables ending January 31st, 2026 in the amount of $76,282.88.
Support.
Okay, now we have a detailed list of what those expenses that added up to that amount were.
I don't have a question on the treasurer's report per se, but I do on the disbursements.
Yeah, we just did the disbursement points. Fire away.
Number one there was Ace Hardware operating supplies of $703.99. What, if we could get a list sometimes of this, it would be very helpful so we know where this money's going.
Sure, I could bring all the receipts from Ace. They're not the most fun to go through, but those are all times when the guys from the DPW stop to pick up whatever supplies they need for the shop, individual nuts and bolts or, supplies for a truck or whatever it is, but I can provide any more detail you'd like for sure.
And Vicky's 5519, what was that for?
Boy, I wish there was a description.
Yeah.
I also wish I had Wi-Fi over here because I can pull it up in the. I don't remember off the top of my head. So.
Okay. And then.
What would we buy at Beaky's on January 7th? I'm sorry, I wish I knew that, but I don't have that number up with no description here. I'm not sure.
Bob Huxwell, mileage reimbursement. Where did he go to rack up $547.44? And that's a lot of miles.
So Bob, in January, was doing a lot of running back and forth between Tri-County, who was working on our John Deere tractor. And then he runs to Mazda Auto Parts. He does most of the running for that department. So whenever there's issues with the vehicles or any equipment, he's the one running out to get the stuff, and he keeps diligent track of his miles. So He only submits his mileage quarterly too, though, which is why it seems high. He doesn't submit it monthly. Yeah, he submits it, well,
He lets it build
the
up.
most frequently he does is quarterly. Sometimes he forgets and doesn't do it until every 6 months. But-
Okay, so this could be a quarterly number.
Yeah, and I can look back at history to tell you exactly how many times he's requested it, but it's definitely not monthly, I can tell you that.
Next one was row professional engineering fees.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't used them in a long time. What is that?
Yep, they did our
1300?
bridge inspections, so every 3
When
years.
did they do those though? Back in the summer, wasn't it?
October, but they
We're
just
just now-
didn't bill it to us until the end of December. So
Okay.
they're not the quickest on that stuff. So
Okay, and then down below, the debit card, did you change the debit card the way that they suggested on the audit yet?
So the audit suggestion was to have a debit card policy, which we have a credit card policy, but it doesn't have the word debit in it. So
Okay.
that's going to be part of what I'm going to be recommending is probably 9 financial policy documents that we're going to be updating and adopting. One is a debit card policy. And it seems kind of silly because a credit card and a debit card are really the same thing according to Visa and MasterCard and all them, but I get it. They want that word in there.
I
So
think they want it to come right from the account versus somebody having to write a check too. I mean, I think
well, that's why we
part of
chose
it.
to do it. Yes, that's why we chose to move to debit. But
Okay, and then the Michigan Municipal League conference, is that one coming up or one that you've already been to?
that's one I've already been to. And that's not just a conference. So conference is the Hampton Inn. Michigan Municipal League was our annual dues, plus the registration for Trustee Nivell and myself for CapCon, and the registration for the Michigan Municipal Executives Conference that I already went to. I think, I want to say 700 of it is the village's annual dues. So, and then the remainder would be the registrations.
Okay. Do we do a lot of running back and forth to Myers?
Yeah, that's a good.
Meyer mileage. Oh, no, that's gasoline. So when I travel, instead of charging mileage, I just charge for gas because it's much cheaper for the village. The mileage rate is much higher than a rate for gas because it's gas plus the wear and tear in your car and all those things. And I figure I can eat that, and I just charge for gas. So that's what that is. It's a gas receipt.
What's the mileage rate?
77 cents, I think. 72 cents. So it's a little more than double just the gas price. So I've done that probably 3 times now, where I just, when I'm using more than a full tank of gas, I just run the 1 tank and I eat the rest of the cost myself.
It's 72.5 cents.
Thank you. And one last question, the Office Depot for the W-2 forms, is that for the Norton or QuickBooks or whatever, what is that?
It's W-2 forms. I mean, literally is the W-2s we have to print to mail out. We buy the blanks,
Okay.
and that comes with the envelopes, and then our W-3 that we have to send in, and our 1099 forms. It all comes in one little package of forms because we have so few that it's not really worth it to us to pay a concierge service to do it for us. So I actually do them myself out of BSNA.
Okay. That's all I have.
That's kind of an unusual question.
Yeah, I like unusual. It's fun.
Well, because one of the things that's not on the disbursements this month is all of the phone stipends that are always on there on a regular basis. So I just wondered if some policy was changed with that?
No, the policy didn't change. It was just a matter of when checks got signed. It was after the 31st
Okay.
when those checks, because
So if I've doubled
phone stipends go out of accounts payable, not out of, so you would think they go out of payroll, but they don't. They're in accounts payable. So because we only run check runs twice a month, and honestly with Amber gone, we only ran one in December. I don't remember if we ran 2 in January, but it's just a matter of timing.
Okay.
And as far as 2 of them coming out in February, it's probably going to be the same, but there will be a month where 2 of them come when we get on track the right way.
And it'll definitely say for January and for February?
Correct.
Okay.
I did have one question about the check apparently to you for holiday/operating supplies. Can you break down how much of that was holiday and what the operating supplies were?
Yeah, so, operating supplies, it really should say office supplies, but it probably just corrected to operating because that was written in a previous cell. So office supplies there is when I ran to Costco, if I go to Costco, I get I buy all of our toilet paper and cleaning products and things because they're so much cheaper at Costco.
Yeah, well, I would like to see a breakdown of
Yeah,
that, because when
more
you
than
put them
happy to.
both in the one line, last month, we had like $1,100 or something of holiday
Right.
expenses already.
Yeah,
Now
so.
I see another line for holiday expenses, that's why I would like to know how much, what portion of that was
Right.
additional holiday.
Yep, and that's a matter of, I probably just didn't turn that receipt in until January, but I'll pull up the receipt itself, because everything that we have here, the original receipts for them are scanned into the system when it's entered. So all I do is, if I had Wi-Fi over here, I could show you, I get a hyperlink in the budget, and I click on it, and it pulls up all the receipts, so you can see exactly what it is. So that's easy to do. We haven't made a practice of bringing all the receipts. I'm happy to do that, or just happy to send it to you, or you can pop in anytime and see them. But that's all information that we do have at the ready. I know that one of the things I really want to add to this building is reliable Wi-Fi, so that I can have those things at the ready during a meeting. But
I know we put Wi-Fi in this building, and it was
Yes.
supposed to put a hub in here that should
it's
be
back
reliable.
there. It doesn't run a strong enough signal to ever load BSNA. Every time I've tried, and you'll see at most meetings I have a computer, but I've just never been successful at loading BSNA, whether that's just too much bandwidth or what, I'm not sure. So I've got some thoughts about how to upgrade it. There's actually plugged in over there a Wi-Fi extender that still doesn't do quite enough. That was one of our attempts. So.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so that upgrade is only like a year and a half.
Well,
This one here?
getting
what
Wi-Fi
was
here
the-
was probably like, I don't know, like
Two.
4
It was
years
right-
ago. It was
it was
back when I was
before
on IT committee. Because that was one of the initiatives I
We updated it
pushed.
again when
Oh, we
Matt,
did update it again?
Matt, when Ryan Mattis, sorry, I get the Ryans. When Ryan Mattis was here, he had an update. So I'm not sure, it could be different updates, but I thought it was for that particular reason. But if it's not working, it's not working, but it just seems silly.
Okay, moved into order on the disbursements, and a couple of council members had questions. Hope that they were answered. If not, we'll do a roll call, or if they were, we'll do a roll call vote on the expenditure.
Brooks,
Yes?
Reed,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. All right, that takes us past the disbursements, and it takes us to revenue and expenses report, January 31st, that's in our packet as well. Is there anything on that that should be highlighted or noted?
My first question is this the same as what we got earlier? Because I can't read my copy.
Yeah.
I know, I just noticed the first page is hard to read for
It's
me
all
too, and then
right.
it's much better after that for mine, but, no, there were no changes to it, no.
Okay.
The changes I made to update the agenda were only removing, I didn't, there were no changes to the information of this stuff at all.
Okay, that's, anybody else, questions on the,
Do we have to make a motion to approve that?
yes.
Make a motion to accept the revenue and expense report for January 31, 2026 as presented.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported, all those in favor say aye.
I have
Aye.
a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, jump in.
Yes.
Again, I am, after December, I thought, well, I really want to try to understand this a little bit better. And
Well, you will get one that's much easier to understand very soon.
I hope so, because I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
this
waiting
one's-
for,
Yeah, we're
since I
still,
joined council.
right, well,
But I do want to ask, it under Village Council Department 101,
uh-huh.
that miscellaneous fee is way high.
Yeah.
What is that all about? It was all spent in January.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, I mean, things that say miscellaneous, and that's where I feel like when it says miscellaneous, it's a high dollar amount, we need to know. what-
Yeah.
But the only things that would be under miscellaneous for that would be like an overage expense for a load of salt that can't go into that line because it's over what we budgeted, or which I gotta talk about later, we're at kind of crisis mode with salt throughout the county. But I will get you an answer. I apologize, I don't have it. I was not involved in running these things this week due to what was going on, so.
I have a question about the website.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that quarterly, yearly, monthly?
It's
I haven't seen that one.
It should be annual. The website,
That
the
makes sense.
revised
That
website,
makes sense.
yes,
Okay.
it's annual.
All right. I
Yeah,
assume
that's
that,
our-
I just want to clarify.
That's our annual fee, and it went up by $135.
My website too.
So that's another one of those things that we'd have to do an amended budget for, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you were gonna say, oh no, because I thought it was annual,
No,
but then it
yeah,
said, yeah. I have a heart attack.
yeah, that's a once a year to have our
Yeah.
website hosting.
Okay, any other discussion about the finance report? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that financial report is accepted by the vote, or it's actually becomes part of our permanent record. Next, public comment on the agenda. And we can start at that any time. So is there anybody here that would like to speak to council?
Is it just on the agenda only?
No, you can speak about anything you want.
USA Hockey. Anything.
But if she does, you can cut her short.
I'm Dana DePalma, I'm the treasurer for Brandon Township, and I just want to clarify with the board and the residents that I've been and will continue to be present at the meetings in order to stay informed about the current events and matters affecting our community, and to keep a good working relationship with the village. As a township elected official, I represent the residents of the township, which also includes the village residents, so I believe it's my responsibility to remain knowledgeable and engaged. It is my duty to ensure that the residents have access to accurate information and transparency as decisions are considered. Regardless of how the village residents ultimately decide on whether to retain or dissolve the village, I will fully support their decision. However, they deserve to have all the relevant facts available as they can to make an informed decision. So, in order for the township to hold a meeting and to give information, we have to have some, and to answer the residents' questions, and to hold that special meeting, I'm requesting the following information. I'd like to see both of the fiscal year audits that you had for 2025. I know you had two different audits done. I thought there was two, because there was the one from Ken Palka, but then there was another company that did an audit or something.
There was another company that did one.
Pardon me?
Yeah, there was another company
Yeah.
that did one.
Okay, so I'd like both, yes.
There was?
And then the current 2026 year approved budget and the actual general ledger to date, or as least 1/31 of 26. And then also the 2025 fiscal year-end budget and final general ledger, or whatever type of report. We get a general ledger from BSNA that we use. This would help the township be able to analyze the numbers and then figure out to answer the questions for the residents also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I do want the council members to know regarding the audit that we had. It was started in August and was not completed until December. Typically, it's a month-long process, sometimes two at the most. So they sent the report over on December the 6th. I didn't get it till January 13th. So I don't know where it was for a month, but it didn't make it to any of us.
The audit didn't start in August. It started November 12th when you signed the letter for representation, which I included tonight. We got a draft version on the 16th in December. The audit wasn't finalized until December 29th, and then we got the final letters when we came back from holiday. I think it was January 10th. Maybe you said the 12th.
Yep. Do you know what we paid them?
For the audit itself, my head wants to say it was right around $9,000, but I don't have that number for sure. It was I believe it was in the representation letter that I sent out at your request today.
Okay.
I can find it pretty easily.
Just if you knew
It
it.
was right in that neighborhood, 9,400, somewhere right there.
And my only question about that is that a rate that is consistent with the past 2 or 3 audits that we've had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I saw that check today, that's what made me think of what the,
Yep.
what the amount was, and you were exactly right. Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, no, you didn't interrupt. I'm waiting to hit my start button so I can keep track of my 3 minutes. I don't have any notes, so. All right, so I'm Brian Reed, a village resident who wants to keep the village as it is. And if that's public knowledge, anything you can send to De Palma from the township, send it to me too. If we're allowed to have it, I would like to have everything that she has. As far as I would love to look at all those figures as well. I would also like to recommend, and not that I'm in a position to recommend, but like listening to the expenses, it's unacceptable to me to not be able to read out or know what was spent $700 at Ace Hardware. It's more than nuts and bolts. That should be easily documented and remembered. $50 at Beaky's, I get that can be like a trivial, like we can figure that out. Gas mileages, like why do we just turn them in when we want to? We need to set an organized structure, in my opinion, every month or it's every week. Or it can't be just when you want to. As we are trying to show that we are financially sustainable as a village and are doing the right things for the village, it's really important to me that we're showing everyone that we are. And there's too many gaps, in my opinion, of the organization of the financials, just listening to the reports that we were just speaking about. Every decision, someone's running to Mazda back and forth, I'm assuming DPW or whatever, like everything needs to be notated of what's being spent, why, where, how, and easily trackable. And it needs to be turned in a set amount of time. And again, like every month, whatever it needs to be. Most companies do that. Most organizations do that. Most managers will know that number and know that information, especially when we have a spotlight on us as far as are we competent enough to run this village, keep this village together, which I want to do, and I'm here to support all of that. Judging by reading The Citizen, it seems like the lights piece of it might fall on the village piece of it. I don't know, I don't have all the facts, and I'm surely not going to take everything that's written in a Citizen as fact, because I have been emailing Shelby from The Citizen, I don't know if she is here tonight, about what was in that letter as far as like, there's in quotations that it must go to a vote to have a special assessment, and then there's non-quotations coming from the author that it must go to a vote. That is factually incorrect. It does not factually have to go to a vote. However, if it doesn't, then the residents have to have 20% of the residents to come up with a petition saying, hey, we want to vote on this. Then it gets complicated and everything else. So could be factually true that most often do they go to a vote? Yes, most often. But when we're saying things as fact, we need to present all of the facts, not just a part of the facts. But that's just my comment. I didn't plan on speaking tonight, but all of those expenses got me going. I'm at 2:57, so thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Can I have one more minute?
You may.
I wanted to speak then on the special assessments because I did see what Shelby's been dealing with, and I did a lot of research today on special assessments, and the act that he's talking about is Public Act 188, and that is only for improvements to something. It is not for a DPW or maintaining. We are getting a legal opinion on that, but from what we understand is the Public Act 188 is just for improvements like road paving, but not for everyday maintenance. But again, we're working on a legal opinion, and that would be something that we would include at our meeting. So I don't want to quote that you have to vote or you don't have to vote, but the way I'm reading it is that if we did it as a DPW, it would have to be voted upon. If it's a special thing, like when you guys put in the road millage, then it wouldn't have to be, because it's an improvement to an existing that increases the value of the property.
And for what it's worth, the road millage was not an assessment. It was actually a statutory
Right.
authorized millage, so it didn't require input.
You did it twice at these meetings. I didn't know that. I knew these. Brian Reed, Village Pine Lane, Ortonville resident. I would just say, as we were talking about doing research, before you go to the papers and print something, add that in there. Like, well, we think this, and this is based on this, and we're going to do more research to get a really clear answer, because 90% of the people don't come to these meetings and they read that Citizen and they put in their head, boom, this is it, and they tell 15 other neighbors, so.
Hello, Margaret Gottlob, President. I want to thank the council for questioning about the expenses. I think that's important, so I'm happy to see that that's done. From a bookkeeping perspective, I don't think anything should be in miscellaneous, ever. It needs to be categorized somewhere because it doesn't make sense. As far as I think, and I'm not positive, but if you were to categorize that item under salt and it's taking you over budget, so what? So you show a negative. It's at least it's in the right category versus miscellaneous. That's just my thoughts on that. How do I see the agenda for the meeting prior to coming to the, I don't know what the agenda is. How do I see it?
It should be posted on the website, and I think they're working on that.
Okay, because yeah, I
You can
checked the
also submit
website and I didn't
office.
see
They can
anything.
print you off one. If you want
Okay, it's just easiest when I'm at home
Yeah.
to pull up your website and look. So yeah, I'm not seeing it there.
And that's part of the issue where we haven't had access to our website for a couple of months, and so
I don't
I
understand.
take the blame for that, but we always have them in the office. I can email it to you, I'd be happy to do that as well.
Okay. Just a suggestion to maybe get more participation from the public to come to this meeting, possibly posting signs out on the main quarters in town, kind of like when it's the day to vote and they put a sign out there that says, vote today, maybe some sort of sign that says, village council meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. Because I'm a visual person, and if I'm driving through town in the morning on my way to work and I see that, I might go, oh yeah, that's tonight. You know, it's just not always top of mind for some people. So maybe that would encourage more people to come to this meeting, which I would love to see.
I think it would. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. I was curious, because I didn't know this until I was at the last meeting. How long were we without a treasurer and a clerk?
They vary because they didn't vacate at the same time, but for at least 6 months, 8 months, maybe even up to a year.
For which position? Both?
Treasurer.
Treasurer, so up to a
But
year?
the village manager was filling in.
Right.
We were without a treasurer for about 3 weeks. We were without a clerk for, I was acting as the clerk while we had an in-between period of 8 weeks, maybe 9 weeks between one leaving and the hiring being complete.
The clerk.
For the newest one. Yeah.
But with the treasurer, that was
It was just a
vacant.
couple of weeks. I was named the interim treasurer at a meeting.
Okay, but
shortly
how long
after
did it take
return.
to hire a treasurer?
We haven't
I'm
hired
still
one
acting
yet.
as the treasurer.
Oh,
We have not hired one yet. We are working
okay.
on that.
Do you know why you're having problems getting a treasurer? Are people not responding to the
We haven't
ad?
even put anything out yet.
Oh, so it's been a year and no posting for the job?
We've been
Why?
developing a staff member that we hired into that role. She just took the title of deputy treasurer, and it's being led by her readiness, her preparedness to want to take that title on. So we have a personnel, not issue, but it's a personnel decision, basically. There are a list of, and Dana would be more expertise at this, but there are a list of items that are statutorily required to be done by the treasurer. Right now, even though I'm still acting as the treasurer, there's only about 4 of those items that I'm still doing. The rest of them have been become the responsibility of the deputy treasurer. So it's been she wasn't hired in that role, but she has worked well into it. She showed a lot of promises in bookkeeping and taking things on, but I don't want to speak for her, but her interest is not to take that role on, because having the title means you have basically the only thing she won't do is signing the warrant at the beginning of the year and signing the settlement at the end of the year, which is taking liability for those numbers. So because I'm a licensed attorney, I don't have to be bonded in order to be a public financial officer. So there's no extra, I'm not out anything as far as risk goes, as far as getting bonded to do that. She's not interested in doing that just because she's not at a point where she wants that responsibility on her personally. And up to this point, we've operated saying that's been fine, because functionally she's doing almost everything in that role. And so typically the concern is segregation of duties, which in an office, especially as small as ours, is complicated. But that's one of those things we've been able to execute really well, to segregate the duties among the folks that are working, to where our auditors are quite happy with the operation from that standpoint. So it's only a matter of the title itself. The functionalities are all being carried out by our deputy treasurer, if that makes sense.
No. So
Okay.
do you have, so are you going to employ two people, a treasurer and a deputy treasurer?
I doubt it, because we don't have the
Funding.
financial,
Right.
that doesn't make sense for us operationally.
So the person that's functioning as a deputy treasurer is functioning as a deputy treasurer because you're kind of testing them out to see if maybe they're going to be the right fit?
Yeah, so there's two sides to it. One is that she's training and learning and getting more comfortable, but there's also, she's not comfortable taking on that title in the bonding. So we've, as a personnel team, we've worked on, it's been progressing and been progressing and been progressing. And so it's been allowed to continue to progress. So
Does this person have an accounting background?
she's been,
Okay.
bookkeeping was her primary job function for, I'm never going to say a woman's age, but more than 1 decade. Decades plural. So
Okay. But there's no clerk yet?
Yes.
we have hired someone administratively to come into that role, and he is taking that title of clerk on. He was sworn in this week by Clerk Blair.
Okay, I think that was kind of mentioned, like there was someone going to start in a week and a half or something like that.
Yep.
Okay,
And that was just that became a longer process than we would have liked in hiring. We ended up having
So-
3 very good candidates,
the
and
person that's functioning as the deputy treasurer, what were they hired for?
admin assistant.
An admin assistant?
Yeah, which at the time, the role was supposed to be about 60-40, 60% admin assistant, office manager, and then 40% bookkeeping, doing some of the cash receipting and some other things where we have a clerk in place doing the accounts payable, and all these things are statutorily defined as the different positions that have to be handled, the different financial functions that have to be handled by different positions. So she was taking on those duties, but it was clear pretty quickly that she was going to be capable to take on much more of the bookkeeping, and that slide of 60-40 slid probably to 80-20 within 2-3 months, I would say.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not really supposed to be responding in public comments.
Yeah, and if you can't, and you tell me who I should talk to offline, just
Yeah,
tell
no,
me
you
that.
can come talk to me anytime about it. I just, functionally, I'm not supposed to talk during public comments. I'm just realizing that and censoring myself.
Okay, so one other question too. So I know that in the January 26th meeting, there were a number of people that got up and spoke about the speed limit sign on Mill Street. Who would I talk to in regards to that? Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
I actually, I highlighted some things in minutes and took those in today regarding that as well. So that's one of them.
Okay, turn to public comment. Mr. Essman, are you coming around? It looks like it.
Oh, so I didn't need to Oh, my, take a look, go ahead.
I'll use the path, I guess, well worn there. So, Dan Ushman, village resident, 616 Mill Street, previous trustee of 12 years. I just had a couple comments. I still have a concern, and I brought this up in front of council about the relationship between Brandon Township and the village. I think that a while back ago, I think Trustee Hayden mentioned that they reached out and with unsuccess, but really I think relationships can be rebuilt. There's something seriously wrong between the Brandon Township and this council. It's not the residents who it can't be just one person. There's something wrong between this council and Brandon Township. Just saying, it's got to be fixed. We're a community, all right? We pay Brandon Township taxes just like we pay village taxes. So I really like to see some work being done to correct that relationship, all right, between the two municipalities there. Us being one too, though. The second thing I have here is a petition to dissolve the village. Really, I know it was commented, bless your heart, Ken, that you said you're gonna do everything in your power to make sure that doesn't happen. The truth is, it's not in your power, all right? It's in the public's power, all right? It has to do who signed that petition. Okay, if the petition's signed and it goes to a vote, it's still the people of the village that votes it in or out, all right? I think it's a little premature for the Brandon Township to be asking for us, for our finances and our budgets in preparation what may be or may not be approved on a petition. Why are we giving information to Brandon Township without a petition even being approved and assigned? I think that work should start after the petition has been signed, has gone to Oakland County. Oakland County has validated all the signatures, the residents, and their voting capacity within the village limits, right? Because that's who's got to sign it. All right, so that's my comment about the petition. Again, this is hearsay, right? But the petition was brought forth to our community by one major, I would say, business owner. Okay, Hamilton's, we know it. The Crat's been printed in the village, right, or in the Citizen. That's no secret, right? Well, we know for years, 12 years on council. What do they want? Sewers. The village has overwhelmingly voted. We put it to a vote. All right, we got it on a vote. They overwhelmingly voted sewers down. All right, this is just another avenue for you to lose control, for us to lose control of our village, so that sewers can be marched right down our street without us saying a word. Make no mistake about it. You think your taxes are going to go down? If that's what the Citizen writes, you can't believe everything that's written in the Citizen. I got to tell you, there's a lot of factual information that's not correct in that. All right, and you should do more fact checking. All right, that's what I have on this. I'm telling you, there's a lot more going on that meets the eye, and I talked about this the last time we met.
Okay, but you're supposed to address this board, not individuals in the audience, Dan. You know that.
I do want to say thank you for the council for reconsidering letting Matt go. I do believe Matt is good for this village. I do appreciate everybody reconsidering that and putting him in more in a direct line as to what you're expecting. But when somebody has a good review, 6 months down the road, another review, a good review, and all of a sudden the man's going to be fired? Okay, we are an at-will employer. I know that. We can fire somebody for no good reason. But really, is that who village is? Council doesn't want to fire somebody for no good reason. And if you want to use the turning off of the lights as a reason, come on. Ken, you know, man, you knew long ago that those lights were going to be turned off.
No, I didn't.
Man, I got to tell you, I don't believe you, Ken. And you know what? That's just my comment. You could say no, but I don't believe it. I think you knew. I think you do.
Oh, I've been warned of it for months leading up to it.
Yeah, and you're going to blame it on one person. You knew. It goes back to the relationship, and you don't have to answer me, Ken. Don't answer me. All right? My point is, you knew about it, nothing was done about it, and there's a relationship problem. It all ties together. And you know what? The same people that orchestrated this petition are the same people turning off the lights, are the same people that are shunning our village away from them. Something's wrong. It's got to be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We got Glennis.
Yeah. Okay. Glennis Hubbard. I'm gonna read off of something so I can get it all in and talk fast. I have some thank yous and I have some goals. I want to say thank you to Ashley for delving into the budget. You took the initiative to review the budget after the Christmas line item kerfuffle that we had at the last board meeting. And you came back and you had the exact answer to clear up the matter. Nice job. It was a line item that was in the budget, should have been okay, should have all been good, but you came back and you schooled the rest of your council and you did a nice job. Don't stop. It is your job, as it is all council members and village managers' job, to ask questions and to get answers. Thank you to Alex for suggesting, arranging, and promoting the town hall meeting. The purpose of the meeting was great. It was a feel-good, all on the same page meeting, but it did fall short when there were no answers to obvious questions that many of us had. And those questions could have been asked we'll call them out to the petitioners, to the Kratz prior to. If you're not going to show up at the meeting for whatever reason, okay, but let me ask you some questions so that when we go to the meeting, that we will have some answers to give everybody. That falls on leadership, but your impetus to get something going was really spot on for the morale of the village. The meeting also fell short when Matt was not allowed to share additional information after the township treasurer spoke. Several of us wanted to hear his comments and he was denied. To Alex and Ashley, I just want to say, appreciate your enthusiasm. Don't let that enthusiasm be subdued by anyone. Keep pushing, keep asking questions, keep looking for answers. Take classes, read the village ordinances and bylaws. And if something smells funny, it's because there's probably something, there's a smell coming from somewhere, something somewhere. Melanie, I want to thank you for being concerned about procedures. Whether we agree with them or not, they are there to be recognized and followed for a reason. If these procedures don't work anymore for the time that we all live in, then correctly change them, but they should be followed. Keeping us out of a potential lawsuit is a good thing. You showed good leadership by requesting a pause at the last special meeting, so thank you. To Larry and Linda, thank you for also agreeing to a pause on the decision in that special meeting, and Kay for changing your vote after supporting the original motion. But it should never have come to that meeting. That was a lack of leadership. Matt, I'm listening, I'm concerned about the role that you stepped into as the township treasurer. I appreciate it. Way to show great team support. That's awesome. There was a need and you filled it. And so what I was going to say, I have some great concerns about accountability and oversight and checks and balances and conflict of interest and conflicts everywhere. And when you leave, there's going to be if you leave, there's going to be 2 sets of shoes that now have to be filled. But you are now saying in tonight's meeting that there's a deputy treasurer. However, she isn't willing to sign her name to things. That's something that needs to be corrected. So if we need to find a treasurer and not just a glorified bookkeeper, somebody who's willing to take on the full responsibility, then that's what we need to do. Go to Oakland County. Call a firm, call Tryon, whatever you need to do to get some help if she isn't going to be the person qualified officially to be able to sign off on what needs to be done. That needs to be taken care of. And it went on for too long. And it was poor leadership, poor council decision. So it just needs to be made a priority that she is made right with what she is legally able to do for our village. So it's great, she's great, but if she isn't willing to go all the way, then we have to make sure that we have a solid treasurer in that position. All 8 of you represent us. 7 of you are with a vote at public meetings. Public input is important. If a room full of people say yes, then guess what? You're voting yes. A room full of people say no, then you should probably be voting no, because you represent us. But not any one of you singularly represents all of us. No one is more important than the other. And this is what I'm going to charge you with. All 8 of you need to have a specific goals to fix what's happening, just like you are requiring of the village manager. So find that treasurer, qualify your treasurer so that she becomes permanent and not just a ad hoc treasurer. It was mentioned in the previous meeting, the lack of communication. So goal, meet twice a month for a stretch of time so that you guys can all communicate with each other and you can hash out a lot of the things that we don't have clarification on. It was also mentioned a lack of clarity and understanding. Ask questions when you meet for that second meeting. You hold each other accountable, accept responsibility, and stop blaming others. That's a goal. We hold you accountable, and the behavior and demeanor exhibited in the last couple of meetings by leadership is inexcusable and represents the council poorly. Fix it. We have issues brewing out there, and I hold all of you responsible to pull together for all of us so we can all address what's going on out there. Do the job you chose to be elected for. Fix the problems or step down. But not everybody all at once. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glennis.
Thanks. Glennis, okay, final call, I think. We're way behind the 8 ball. I'm gonna start here with the village council members, if they have any updates to pass along. I'll start with Alex and I'll work the other way around the table.
Yeah, I would love to bring together a committee for 2 things. One, it was the grant and scholarship that I have proposed for our cable cast fees. I'd like to see some other people kind of come together and work on that. If we can do that here between now and next month, I'd like to get that ball rolling. And then 2, yes, our residents have been talking about speed and speed limits, and I've discussed this at ends with a few people. We need to put something together in writing, whether it be that speed sign or a stop sign or whatever it can be. We need to discuss this and have it hashed out here as soon as possible as well. I attended the township meeting earlier this month, which was good and insightful. Let's see, what was on there? Everything on there that they had going on, some dog licensing, online updates, some Brandon fireworks, they passed that. And that was really about it, but yeah, I really like to get those ball rolling on them. So,
Thanks, Alex.
I had also talked with Matt about contacting the sheriff's department to get a speed limit fine. I don't know where that's at. I don't know if he's contacted him or not. But I do want to say one thing before I read you something. I have been a member of the Personnel Committee, as has Ken and Melanie Nivell. We have worked since day one with the manager, and I can assure you, it is not one issue. It is a slew of issues and concerns that we had. And I'll just leave it at that. I'd like to read something. Last week was a rough week for all of us, and I think you'll all agree. At last Wednesday's special meeting, I personally felt very pressured to vote the way that I did due to the foul language used, the screaming at the board, the viciousness, the drama, and the innuendos that took place simply because we were trying to do the right thing for village taxpayers. You can't know all the stuff that we know. You just can't. In the day-to-day operations, you just don't see them. I want to apologize to the citizens for taking the easy way out because I didn't want to have the appearance of not giving anybody a second chance. I give everybody a second chance. He has had numerous chances. But because of the hostility, the amount of hostility that was in the room, and I've also personally apologized to some of our employees. As part of the Personnel Committee, I felt we had kept all of you informed of the deteriorating deficiencies all along the way. Perhaps like me, you also felt pressured. I don't know. I believe we let ourselves down, the village residents, and our employees down. I feel we made the wrong decision by allowing the village manager to continue on probation for 2 more months. The second motion was for all trustees to send in their concerns for areas of needed improvement. And I know that Trustee Faulkner and Mould, Brooks, and myself sent in recommendations. It doesn't include Trustee Quisenberry, Hayden, or Nivelt, and who may have sent them in since or are in the process of doing so. Out of those who sent something in, there are over 50 deficiencies that we'd like to see improvements in. You also asked for corrective action plans for any and all deficiencies and biweekly updates. Is this really what the citizens of Ortonville want or expect? We took an oath to faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee to the best of our ability. With that in mind, do you feel this is what will take place if we spend 2 more months of our time, energy, and resources on trying to help one person succeed at the risk of everything else having the potential to fall down around us? Over 50 deficiencies. This after almost 2 years on the job. Well, I don't. Included in the 50 deficiencies is the breakdown between every one of our community partners, the township, the DDA, the citizen, and the business owners, and even some of our employees. Therefore, I'm asking this board to please consider last week's vote, and then I'm asking the board to consider taking a new vote later this week. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Linda Brooks.
Thankful because I wrote things down, it took me a minute to find my notes. Some of the things I've been working on, first of all, I want to share that I just, we met with the architectural,
Preservation architect, historical preservation architect.
Yeah, Ron Campbell, historical preservation architect. He came in and has been working on some improvements for this building, and I was asked if I could secure that document. It's good to know that we are stopping and getting a preservation architect to look at that. I've also asked him to look at Grossman Park, to provide us with a beautiful drawing so that we can move forward with that. I attended the DDA meeting this morning, and we'll talk later about, Heritage Park. I wanted to comment that they also endorsed moving forward with that. I don't wish to discuss last week's meeting, so I will move on.
Okay. I was at the DDA meeting this morning too, and they did cover some things. I did notice, and I took notice, that I think we are behind in our grant applications. They've got grants going left and right. They've got grants going with the county. They have grants going where you put up $800 and you can get a $10,000 consulting grant. They've got just a lot of irons in the water, and that's just one additional failure that we can't seem to get a grant approved or even applied for. We did have one, and I found out it was due on December the 10th or 12th or something like that, and we just plain missed the application. So that's what the DDA had going, and I wish them good luck with their projects and especially their grants, because they seem to be really moving forward in that direction. Larry.
Okay. First, I'm going to start with some of the comments that some of the people here had. I do agree it's been way too long about the speed sign issues, because we've been promised for, I think, a few years now that, oh yeah, there's some issues, well, we got to repair it, well, we're going to get some new harnesses, well, we're going to do this with them, well, we're going to do that with them, and I really think it's way overdue. We need to do something. I think that one of the things we can do is we can consider taking those along with maybe some other things for traffic calming. My thought has always been strategically placed crosswalks could also be useful in slowing down traffic through the town. So I think that would be another option we could look into. You will see later on a presentation about a sidewalk shift in front of the old mill. And we could roll several of those things together and put in for like a TAP grant from SEMCOG, which I think would be a great idea to try to get some grant money to get some of these things addressed. So that's one thing I want to do. There is a SEMCOG General Assembly meeting coming up in March. I will be attending that, and if we can put some of these things together before I go there, I'm going to try to take the opportunity to talk to some people there about what we can do to try to see if we can get some grant money for those projects if we roll them up together. I agree 100% about the treasurer. I have the same concerns about the lack of separation of the functions. Initially, we did designate our village manager as treasurer on a temporary basis. It has been over a year now, though, and I think that we were expecting a lot quicker resolution to that topic. So my feeling on the treasurer role, and I'm going to suggest this to council for consideration, is if we take a look or investigate contracting a temporary person in to fulfill the treasurer responsibilities and duties until such time as we can fill a position for treasurer. And I think the treasurer position needs to be posted immediately as well. And those are, I think, the two biggest points that I'd like to make. So, I did have a street committee meeting too, and I know that there were, in spite of some of the things that we've been told about how wonderful the street project went, I know there was a lot of issues and concerns about some of the aspects of that. And we did have a committee meeting on that. We went over a lot of topics. One of my main topics that I wanted to address was how much longer we're gonna need to have the street millage. Are we on target to get all these road improvements done so we can roll back that extra assessment we did? Because I think we need to roll that back as soon as we can, once we have the road improvements done. And with that, I'll pass it on to Melanie.
All right. Yes, the speed limit, it's funny that I believe there have been 3 of us now that have brought this to the village manager's attention. So that's good that we've all put in there and chatted with him about doing something with that. Thank you, council members, for those of you that did sign the MML petition for the House bills that are coming down over local control. I appreciate that. I also was in communication with Township, and I know Jason Rumble, or Supervisor Rumble, had sent something out to all of his planning commissioners and personnel there. And just as a side note, not all of us are in the category if we don't get along with Township. I'm over there often, and anytime I have a question, they help me. I've never had a bad experience. I get along well. So please know that that's not the case for everybody on this council. Okay, so I did obtain all the information and input from all the council members regarding the evaluation process. And I spent 2 days, Thursday and Friday, getting the information, also coming up with different templates, and sending both Trustee Green and President Cleasenberry emails and or texts. What's the next steps? When are we going to meet? And when Trustee Green sent me her comments on the input for the evaluation, she said, good luck. And I texted back and said, what's that mean? She goes, oh, I have officially removed myself from the committee. So at that point, I stopped because I already put 2 days into this and I wasn't getting responses. And it's a committee of 3. So I stopped to find out what we're doing this evening. And I did request that committees were put on this agenda for tonight. So that's where that went. And I know she commented that only a few people, all of us responded except for President Cleasenberry. I haven't seen anything from him. He may have something, but I don't know. Also, let's see. Grant writer. I do want to bring that up as well. So when Ken was, the first 2 years when he was first elected as our president, I met with him about grant writing. I met with him with my big black binders and all my information that I had and asked him if I could write some grants. That didn't go anywhere. At the time, Matt Ryan said he could do them. Ryan Mattis, the other Ryan, I should say, right? So I actually got a scholarship through a grant that I wrote, and I put myself through all the grant classes to get certified to write grants. And I did get a grant from MML. And there are many other grants that are out there that I'm very aware of that actually I have tried to apply. And so, yeah, we need a better process. I had a process in place. Nobody really wanted to listen to it. And I had asked for it to be in a budget, and I didn't get much support with that. I will revisit it and see what can come of it, but please know I've been fighting for that for 4 years. We're talking about committees later, so I will talk about that, and also President Pro Tem. My planning commission, we have that on here for this evening, the marijuana ordinance. That is it.
Okay. Still new. I was in the office today, at least getting some perspectives for a website and kind of running off stuff with Alex. So hopefully, once I get stuff done, I've looked at Clarkston's website, Brandon Township's website, Independence Township website, and have at least created a template of sorts to get started and to make stuff user-friendly and to put everything on there so that any questions that you guys have will be easy access, because I can't even find stuff on the website. So hopefully it'll work out, and then hopefully we can get videos of all the meetings on the website directly and YouTube, so it's in both spots. So that'll be easier. And that's all I have.
That would be great too, especially, and you were talking about putting it on the front page where it's
Oh,
really
yes,
accessible.
yes,
Yeah.
everything will be,
That would be really
Great.
nice, thank you.
hopefully.
Thanks, Ashley, and thank you, other council members. Leads us to unfinished business, and it's the marijuana ordinance update. Has Melanie's name next to it, because I know she has been actively involved in that.
Could we have our chair of the planning commission speak on this as well, Bob McCarthy?
Oh, I would like that.
Well, if he wants to.
We kind of talk to each other, and so,
I don't
yeah.
think I've ever passed up a minute to.
Did everybody get the one-page revision that's on the front and back of? Yeah, okay,
I did with this package, yes.
okay.
I don't think.
I thought that would make it much easier for everyone just to see what we did change, so.
Thank you. That'll make a good change of subject here. As I spoke a couple of meetings ago, that the ordinance we wrote it, the planning commission approved it, and now we want it at the council. This ordinance that I'm going to run through was designed for, excuse me, one license. We wrote it that way. It's your job to decide, do you want to keep two, go to the one, or go to none. So you already got an ordinance for two. We wrote one for one. And if you don't want any, call your attorney and get out of the other ordinance, have it rescinded. So that's where we headed with it. If you've got any questions or anything, stop me as I cruise through this. I don't want to go too fast because it is important for what the ordinance would end up. You'll notice in the ordinance there is no reference made to, that's plural, establishments, licenses, applications. They've all been removed out of the ordinance, so it's all singular. Section 2, we changed it. That's the section that changed it from 2 to 1. Section 3, we added that they would be required to have surveillance logs on their equipment.
Can I ask about the written statement for applicant's fitness, business character, relative experience? What was the meaning of that, I guess, do you have, which was also in section 3?
Right.
Number G.
I believe that's a requirement of the MMRMA.
Is it? I didn't know if it was or not.
Yeah, that's a state.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a state requirement that they have, anybody that has to fill out all that.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
just wondering if there was anything extra for us.
Okay.
All right, section 4, that was eliminated. It was all due to, it's all about scoring, which obviously you have one, there's no scoring. It's done with the owner of the property. Section 5, again, is A, excuse me, is all about scoring, and it is just to one location. A4 was changed from 18 months to 12 months just to reduce it down. We felt 18 was just lengthy, dragging out. It's 12 months just seemed to make more sense to us, no particular reason. Section 5, we just did that. Section 8, that the license is exclusive to the licensee. That would allow no transfers. You can't sell it. and it can't be purchased without going through the council and meeting the ordinance. Section 10, we changed the operation times from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. Holy cow! Yeah, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
What were they before? Do you remember?
Why?
No, do you,
What?
what time were they before?
I believe it was 7 to 11.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 7 to 11 before.
Yeah.
So we made it a little more realistic to the community, the hours of operation for a business.
And we are willing to hear input on that. Okay.
Section 11 was removed just by Michigan law.
So is that different than the non-transfer in 8B?
What are you talking about?
In 8B, you mentioned that it was made non-transferable, so then does that make section 11 duplicative?
I don't know, you were gonna look at that, and then we were also gonna send it to the lawyer, and that was the question on that, was, did it make it?
Asking if that was the intent.
Yes.
Okay, section 12. Again, section 12, we removed all the scoring point business. Section 16, we removed the drive-through requirements.
Can I ask thoughts on that one?
Yeah, there's lots of thoughts on it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, for us than anything else.
And some of it for good reason. We've checked with other facility dispensaries, and some have them, some don't. The ones that have them did it primarily for a young person with a small child. Pulls up the dispensary and wants to go in and buy something. The child can't go in. So that means this young person is going to leave the child or the infant in the car and go inside and do it, because the guidelines are one person in the building at a time. So
Why would they leave their child in the car? Why wouldn't they leave the child at home with someone?
that was a lot of the discussion that we had, but they have discovered that. I know in Big Rapids, where there's several of these, that was a huge problem, because they were, and then the employee was running out the marijuana out to the car and making a transfer of paying there, and that didn't make a lot of good sense to us either. You know, so it.
Well, I know it started also, COVID was a big thing to that, why they started the drive-through.
Right.
I know it gets used a lot less, I see when I drive around Oxford and Detroit and stuff like that. I do know it's a good thing for some people. That's the reason why I bring it up.
Yeah, no.
But that was one of the questions that we had deliberated on, when we were revising this. That's one of the ones that we had to really talk about, so, yeah.
And the hard part got to where it would be a young person leaving a young adult leaving a small child in the car. It's the only way they can get it is lock the car and run in and do their business. And when and the best of my knowledge, when they enter the building, they no longer are able to see the car. Once they go to make their purchase, they're no longer able to even see the car. So then some of them do the drive. Yes.
I have a question, because you brought it up too for clarification wise. Do you possibly mean like curbside pickup versus drive-through? Because like Sitco has a drive-through, you can drive through and get beer from their window. Are you talking like drive-through window or curbside pickup, or
Both. Both. Yeah.
Okay.
Drive-through windows are done for it. I mean, you can go to Sitco, I believe, and get a 12-pack of beer out the window.
You can.
You know, so it just the majority of the planning commission just had issue with the drive-through. Linda?
Okay, I was just getting confused because you were talking about not wanting the parents to leave the kid in the car, which would necessitate the drive-through, but then we are not doing drive-through.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what the planning commission done. And again,
I
we
was
had,
at the meeting and
I brought up
know it was
a lengthy
discussed.
discussion on that one because of that. But, and there's nothing here, this is the proposed, so whatever, as it comes around, you obviously do what you would like. We renumbered everything from the original 17 through 24, got renumbered because there was several items that got removed in there, and it was all about the application, about the scoring, and that sort of thing. Section 19 was removed. Let me get to it here. Okay, again, that was, the village fails to take this ordinance. It was all about the ordinance and how it didn't allow you to do anything with it. When that time frame is passed, you now have, we're now able to do whatever we want to make adjustments on the ordinance. Section 20, the only thing that was added into the definitions were the village of Ortonville, so it was understood. Section 24, it was again removed. And section 25 just listed the effective date that it's changed. Thing is after me.
Are we looking for to move forward with? We need to get this to a lawyer, or?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
and
been
that's,
on the front burner for 3 or 4 months.
and that's what I'm not sure of, if I need an action of this council to
Yes,
submit
you
it to
do.
the attorney. So,
You did, even though we asked you many times to do it. The
but
personnel
without an
committee.
action.
Can I make a motion to submit this to our attorney, please?
Support.
Support, okay.
Move to support it.
15.
Hayden and Nivell both supported it, so you can pick it up.
Doesn't matter. You put Hayden on it, that way,
And just for
I think
clarification,
I was
this
up.
is
You
item
know,
10.
that will make sense since I worked on it. I'd rather have.
This is item 10, and item A in 10, the marijuana ordinance, and there's been a motion and support, and any further discussion on it?
Other than the drive-through, how about the hours for?
I'm happy with the hours.
Okay,
The drive-through thing, it's debatable. I mean, I've seen places that are perfectly fine running it, and I have no issues personally. That's the only thing I would bring up. But, I think overall it all looks good and sounds good. I just want to keep this thing moving forward.
yeah,
Okay, but by doing that, is your motion that we get it submitted to the attorney ASAP for feedback?
ASAP for B, man.
Okay, so the motion is to submit this ASAP. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
I
opposed?
just was gonna say, one thing is, my point is the section 11, section 8, to get that clarified. Because if we incorporate, they're not sold or transferred in 8, we don't need 11. But that would be clarification.
and that's from the attorney. And on the original notes with the questions, that was one of
Okay,
his questions that we went over the village.
that's it. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
question's gonna be.
Yep, that's good. Thank you. I read what you asked. So we have it. So is the motion if, to submit to the attorney for review, and if everything is, I guess, okay with him, can we go right to putting this into an ordinance? I'm sure if there are issues, obviously, that he brings up that we have to, it'll come back here to council. But if he feels it looks okay, can we then make it an ordinance at that point to be effective immediately?
Do we
Do we
need to
need
vote
to
for
do
that?
like readings of it before it can be effective?
And the lawyer will have to tell us on that
It
too.
is an amendment. Usually the
Yeah.
readings would be for new, but that's a good question.
But I would ask him if we have to, because we are just revising it literally from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
And hours.
Cleaning up some stuff
Yeah.
that we didn't like from the original.
So it's not a whole, if this was, if we were going to 0, I would probably think we need to, because that was put on a ballot. But in this instance, I don't think so. But we'll find out. We gotta get it.
Yeah. I think it's just appropriate getting it to the attorney to look at, get back and find either things that we missed or incorrectly have that we've done as the planning commission have put into it. And I'm sure there's a lot of legal that I'm here to tell you, we skipped over it because that definitely has to go to the attorney.
Yeah, and I just want to give one comment. I want to thank you, Bob, and the entire planning commission for all your hard work on this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want you to know that the committee that worked on that was Melanie Nivel and Pete Burkett and myself, and we spent a lot of that Christmas break time.
Yes,
You know,
together, didn't we?
we had our own little holiday in there. But we got through it, and the planning commission had other questions earlier at different meetings, but we were able to put it together. And that the little sheet there that gives you information on what we changed, I wrote it out, but it was under direction of Melanie Nivel said that you need to do this. So, although I'm chairman, it didn't make any difference.
It made it nice and quick though, right? Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you for coming.
Okay, it takes us past 10A to 10B. Intergovernmental.
Did we approve, did we
voted.
all say aye to the motion?
We voted, yeah. It wasn't a roll call, it was all in favor, say aye.
Okay.
And it was mandatory.
She's saying you didn't.
I don't
You
recall.
just did it all at the same time, because then you went back to discussion.
Yeah, we go back to discussion.
So just, motion needs to carry.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Now we got it.
Okay, we're gonna make you send it twice now. It takes us to intergovernmental agreement update from Linda Brooks.
All right, I wanted to include in your packets, one of the things Melanie and I worked on was, we talked about intergovernmental agreements, and one of the things that is becoming pressing, again, at this point, is the use of Sherman Park. We know that the township Parks and Rec uses Sherman Park for all their baseball programs, and we are happy to provide that park for that reason. It was probably, oh gosh, Ken, when did you get that email? Over a year ago? About a year ago? That we had talked about having some formal written agreement, and we did get some response, kind of in a non-conventional way, from the township supervisor on what his ideas were. And in good faith, we decided to work with that document and come up with an agreement. I presented this both in a friendly terms and a more intergovernmental legal format. I bring this only for your review. I would, again, I think when we talk about communication, sometimes we don't know what the committee's doing, and they bring it up and say, okay, vote on it. I think I'd rather you look at this, pick it apart. I will say that there are a couple areas that may not be satisfactory to the township, and again, this is something we can't bring to them until we all agree on it. But it basically, what I took was basically how it all works now from the verbal agreements that were made many years ago. And I just wanted to say, let's just put it in writing so that we all know what we're doing and who's doing what. And again, most of it is what was done in the past. I added a couple things that the township supervisor suggested.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we looked at his letter and
Yes.
we worked from there as
That's
well.
what we worked
Yeah.
from.
So-
That's basically what we worked from.
Yeah.
Because again, we're trying to work together.
Yep.
And it, very, very minimal changes, but anyway, I
It was a
just
starting
submit that to
point.
the council
Yep.
for you to peruse and get your feedback. And please use my email to do that
Yeah.
individually.
That would be
Can
good.
I give some feedback right now? I like this, how you put that together.
Thank you.
And one thing I would like to see is, I like the way this is like, kind of like saying, okay, this is what this government entity will provide, this is what that government will provide. I would like to see if there's a way to take a similar approach when it comes around to events, because we have a lot of community events, like the Brandon Township sponsoring some, DDA sponsoring some, our village sponsoring some, school sponsoring some. And my feeling is that those are four governmental entities. We should get together and say, hey, what can we each bring to events, and what would we be willing to provide at any community event, and what would the township be able to provide? And just make that an overall agreement that, hey, when we have a community event, each of the communities agrees we will provide these things for that community event.
And
then
that is the goal.
I think that would be a great way to get our communities to work.
Yeah, we do have a list of those items, when the other Ryan was here, of what are shared intergovernmental events. And we made the list. But it was difficult to just even get through one. So we're trying, this is our first push for, and the other ones are those, like, what do we provide for September Fest? For the Christmas, what do they? Because that is all gentlemen handshakes and you know, it just needs to be, and this was never, just so everyone knows, it was never started about money. It honestly was started over insurance on the pickleball courts. And I questioned that in 2019, of who is doing the upkeep and who is doing the insurance and how are we doing this? Because the township had applied for a grant to get the pickleball courts, but they never came before the council to ask, hey, can we apply for this grant? Are you guys good with it? So it was after the fact. And just know, we love the pickleball. It's nothing about that. I think it's a great space. It's always busy. But I just wanted those things in writing. And it kept getting pushed off, and then Fred retired. So it got pushed off again, and so that is why we're here and starting this. But, you know, pieces at a time.
My feeling, bottom line, these community events benefit everybody in our community, whether they're township or village, and even outside Groveland. So I really think that we should come together to bring out these events, because they benefit all of us.
Yeah, Larry, and as you speak on that, you know, that's one of the things John Hug has been doing too, is getting at least all the entities to talk to each other as the event comes up, which is always.
He does a great job.
Which I think is a good idea, and I support him in that, and this is just taking that another step further, so. Yeah, that is something we can look at.
John Hug is good to work with.
Yeah. So.
I'm not totally against this, but what I am going to say is this is what started the downfall with the township. Just so you all know and remember that. We have been existing for years out here. I guess I've been here too long to remember, but you know, everybody just worked together. We did September Fest, we just did our thing. Each entity did their own thing. There were no issues. And now there's an issue, a big issue. And it's because we brought up, we want everything in writing. And I just don't know how to feel about that 100%.
That is why we took the template provided for us by the township supervisor, because that way we hoped that we would get it in writing, but it would be what you would like to see. And again, I encourage when we do submit this, say circle what you don't like. This is not like this is the way it's going to be. We want to work collaboratively with the township, and I hope we can work for. I don't know. I should find out exactly how we do that for the township, because I went to John Hug and I let him at least read through it. It wasn't official, so I did not want to give it to him, but and he was in agreement with most of it. And there were a couple issues that would have to be decided by the township.
And I think that, honestly, there are conversations that none of us are ever involved with that happen that we're not aware of. And this started out as simply who's responsible, if that backstop falls, who do we call and who fixes it, that kind of thing. It was never about money. And somehow along the way, I don't know who or what, or it became about that without our knowledge.
Right.
So hopefully we can, you know, make it better.
I've also been on council on and off for a number of years. Kay was on council when I first did my first stint many, many years ago. And I can say that a lot of issues that we have had in the village in the past has been due to the informal handshake agreements without anything written or formalized. And I think that having things formalized, it makes for clarity, and it means that, you know, there's not gonna be questions. You don't have to say, oh, there's a handshake agreement, then something unexpected happens and suddenly you got people pointing fingers about who should do what. But if you have some framework to work within, I think that makes things a lot easier for communities to work together. It's about clarity, it's not about trying to, as Melanie said, it's not about the money, it's just about clarifying responsibility.
I see it kind of in a new age approach too, though, with everyone in a sense being too happy. I didn't realize that maybe township pays for insurance on pickleball courts, but maybe not something else. So if someone slips and falls on the pickleball court and they immediately go to the village and say, you're gonna pay for my broken leg, but then we're like, no, the township pays for it, but there's nothing in writing, then we're really gonna be clashing. And then it's gonna be even worse probably, because then they can always go, well, none of you have it, let's sue both of you. Which, I mean, I hope nothing ever happens to that, but, yeah, but seeing it from a different picture, a different angle in that sense, I mean, it doesn't hurt just to be like, okay, township does this, we do this.
It's good governance, it's
Just
protecting your community.
Yeah, and I
just can't believe we've gone on our entire village of Ortonville time.
I think also it'd be nice even with the park of, even signage wise of, Brandon Township sponsor pickleball, village sponsor basketball, and it comes together and you look at the park and go, this is great, because this is all of our community together in the park doing stuff, and we have this and this, and that really shows coming together more than anything else, but,
Thank you. Next is committee assignments and pro tempore appointment. I'm going to take those out of order because I'm going to do the pro tempore appointment first because it isn't an appointment. When I was the president prior, 15 or so years ago, that was one of the duties that the president had. It was in the general law of village document as well as MML that was under the president's position to appoint somebody to that job. During the last president's administration here, this council voted to remove that authority from the president and give it to the village council, which is certainly just as fine. But it means I'm not making an appointment. Somebody on this board is going to have to nominate somebody, and then there's going to have to be an election to vote for the person to be the president tempore of this village. So I'm going to do the tempore first before the committees. Anybody?
Can I speak? I'll speak.
Well, actually, I'm going to make a motion first.
Okay.
I would like to nominate Kay Green for the position of temporary, or for president pro tem of the village council.
I appreciate that, Ken, but I decline.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to village committee assignments. And we all are pretty sure of what the committees are. Alex, you just mentioned one that I think is going to be, it's going to get some legs and get some momentum, meaning some of the things that we're facing right now most likely will need their own committee, especially when it comes to dealing with probation and those other matters, so, and the evaluation. So that should, for sure, in my opinion, become a standing committee of this board to deal with issues such as that.
What do we call that committee?
Evaluations. I'd like to have 3 members on it.
And what committee is that? I'm sorry.
Wouldn't that just be the person, I mean, to me, the personnel committee should be part of that evaluation, and I know now we don't really have a personnel committee, so maybe we need to.
Well, we don't, but his suggestion was a little slight variation of what the personnel committee used to do, because it's going to be focusing more on moving forward and correcting some of our missteps than dealing with this personnel matter.
But that wouldn't be a steering committee.
Well, I get confused a little bit on those terms. The committees meet at whatever determination that they feel is necessary. And some committees only meet a couple times a year. Others, like the personnel committee, seem to meet a couple times a month. But and then the things like the roads and IT and parks and rec. Those would be the next 3 that I would ask for volunteers from this council to take those.
So what is, can you tell us what the name of what you just said is and how many?
So which committee are you?
It's operations and what?
You said evaluation.
Evaluations.
Oh, the
And that was
evaluation.
suggested by Alex an hour ago.
I
I
would be
think-
willing to serve on that.
I think that really should be a function of the personnel committee though.
Well, the personnel
Personnel
committees,
can't handle everything. I mean, they just can't.
and they really can't. They got a pretty full plate already.
I think that for during this probationary period for 2 months, having a committee to oversee and do the measurement is necessary. I don't think personnel can take that on as additional duties maybe necessarily.
Well, I know
It's
they-
just unusual.
I know they
It's
can't.
not something that they normally do.
It isn't, and I would rather see it take on a different form. And you said you wanted to volunteer?
Yeah, I'll volunteer as well.
Okay.
How
I
many
can be the
people do you
third.
want on that?
People what?
How many people are you looking for?
3?
Three
Okay.
max.
There's also going to be, I think 3 openings on personnel.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So,
Please
just
don't
so everyone knows, what, you should probably go over what is available so that, because they probably don't want to pick evaluation and personnel. Because that would be a lot of work.
They would have too full of a plate, I think.
Yeah, I agree, so.
But I just have one volunteer now, and we don't have to fill them this minute. We can,
We have 2, and I thought actually was going to.
oh, okay, I didn't hear you.
Didn't realize there's other stuff.
That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's what.
So what are your committees that you have then?
Well, I'm gonna do them one at a time. The evaluation is the first one, and that's the one elected, or just announced by Alex. And I have one of 3 members, unless Ashley was speaking up, she wanted to do it.
Well, Linda and Alex both said they'd be on.
Oh, yeah, Linda did,
evaluations.
you're right.
So we
I
at least
missed
have 2.
Linda.
Because I was kind of hoping that group would be personnel. Maybe those would go.
Well, the next one is personnel. I'm not sure what takers we're gonna have for that one, but,
Okay.
but my point was that even if we don't fill every one of these vacancies at this particular moment, people want time to think about it, or maybe want to change with somebody else, or maybe they want to just, give it a good sleep on it for a couple days and see if it agrees with them. So we will, we'll move forward to well, we're done. We're done with the committees, we're done with the president pro tem, and
Well, no,
What about
all right,
personnel?
like if I
What
wanted
about
to stay on planning, can I throw my name out there to stay on planning commission?
can you? Sure.
Okay, and then throwing it out there for that.
I would like to stay on streets committee, but I think we need some people on personnel committees.
I know, but nobody's volunteering.
I can do personnel committee.
I would,
Okay.
Got it.
it's gonna be tough if we have to meet physically. Are we
Oh.
gonna be able to do meetings, like, can I join virtually at times if I can't be physically here?
It's up to the other 2 committee members, because I don't want to
Figure
say,
something out.
Okay.
I
The
don't want to
office
say,
has that
but
capability,
Yeah.
if you're asking that, the office has that capability. to
Ashley
Zoom.
and Larry Hayden, and one other person for personnel. And one other person for evaluation.
No, evaluations,
Three?
Linda, Ashley, and Kay? No,
No.
or Alex, okay,
Alex
It's Linda
was
and Alex on evaluations.
thank you.
Ashley and Larry on personnel.
Yep.
You on planning commission.
Larry on the streets.
Larry's on the streets. I would like to be on the DPW.
I'd like to nominate Ashley for.
Yes, and it
I was
needs to
gonna
be.
say, I'll be on IT.
Well,
Well,
So you want to be on evaluation, personnel, and IT?
just personnel and IT.
Personnel and IT.
Personnel and
It was
IT.
Alex and
Thank you.
Linda for the evaluation.
Got it. Thank you.
Streets is Larry, DPW is Kay.
IT, you don't have anybody on IT? Ashley? So-
Ashley, IT.
Yeah, Linda, you're staying on
I'll
Parks and
join you
Rec.
on that one as well.
Okay.
Alex?
You staying on that?
IT, that was-
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, are you staying on Parks and
Yeah,
Rec?
I was wondering if there, I kind of like having a couple people on these committees.
They're
I
supposed to
would
be
willing to
3.
join Kay on DPW if you're
Parks and
okay
Rec.
with that. And if there's somebody who would like to join me on Parks and Rec, I mean, we can get a project though.
We have to go by the definitions of our standing committees and our rules of
Okay,
procedure. And
Parks
for
and
Parks
Rec-
and Rec, it's 1 trustee, DPW staff, and village manager.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm
Yep.
finding it here.
It's on Parks and-
Website IT is one trustee, Streets Committee is one trustee, Village Manager, DPW Director, and a Planning Commission liaison that is appointed by the Planning Commission. I don't know if we have it.
So the DPW would be a new,
As I said, what's DPW?
right, that's what,
No. The
That's-
evaluation.
he wants to be on DPW. And then we also have the Ortonville, I thought we had the historical.
We don't have a DPW. What were you?
We need one, we need one, and I had,
Well,
I
what would
would
the
be willing to
DPW committee, what's their function? Because we don't have it
We
currently
don't
in our
have one,
current
so I was
standing
just
committee,
curious.
so I was just like, I was just wondering what your thoughts were.
I think there's simple oversight. And they have issues with equipment that sometimes they ask for guidance, because some of these pieces of plowing equipment are pretty darn expensive. So having some guidance from the committee, I think, would help them understand our budget a little better and would help us understand what their needs are for equipment.
I would do that.
Well, I'm wondering, who works on capital improvement plan? Isn't that planning commission?
Planning.
Yeah, so maybe if there's a DPW committee, maybe somebody from planning commission should be involved with that.
well, that doesn't have anything to do with planning, really, I mean.
Well, yeah, but
other
see,
than-
DPW, I mean,
CIP does. but-
planning is in charge of the CIP, the capital improvement plan. And DPW equipment, especially expensive equipment, that definitely falls under our CIP.
But that would be, I see that as being a positive, because then if Kay is involved, because right now, we don't get that information readily. So if she's involved and on it, she could either come to the meeting or send us updates, but that would be helpful for
Just
our
like the rest of
CIPs.
you, I assume we're gonna do.
Or
for all
maybe
of us.
have a village trustee and a planning commission representative on the DPW. So they both are something,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, it's supposed, I mean, I guess I thought it was council's responsibility, pretty much. All the other committees are just council people, now you wanna add a planning commissioner.
Well, I'm just thinking about, what you said is you're talking about expensive equipment replacements, things like that typically are things that should be plugged in the capital improvement plan.
And
But
then
she
Since
they-
that's
but
planning
she could give
responsibility.
updates though. Yeah, I think that would be she can give some updates of what has broken down. If the hospital is not coming to us and telling us that, we have to get it through the manager. So that's something that Kay and the manager better be jiving on so that we are getting the right info for the CIP.
Okay, then those would be essentially like ad hoc committees, because right now, unless we want to update or
Right.
modify our rules of procedure to create more committees.
Right.
But
And
we can do
Well, we have
form
two
a-
new committees, it
we can
sounds like
form a
the
committee and
evaluations
We can
and
form
the
a committee just by
DPW.
resolution of council too,
Yes.
so we don't, this is the standing committees, but if we say, hey, this is a need for, for now, and we'll review it in a year or
Ken
6
can
months.
do those at any time.
And I left off with historical, I thought somebody mentioned. it.
Linda said she would.
Historical?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna start attending the meeting, so may as well.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
I need another meeting to go to.
Historical.
Historicals, that's a good.
I've been encouraged by M&L Geyer's enthusiasm, and he's just,
Yeah.
before it was just kind of a.
And they have some
static.
stuff coming up, which is very
Yeah, it
good.
was very static before, and I thought, whatever, and
He's
I'll be
a
another
ball,
meeting.
he is
But
a
he
ball
is-
of fire.
Yeah, he's got a lot of new things coming up, and today he shared some things that he's excited about doing. There's gonna be a big reenactment and all kinds of things. What's the date on that, Ken? Was it May?
They're going,
16th or
they're
something?
going on all summer long.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah, but he had a big to-do coming up.
Yeah,
and-
May 16th, I think.
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
I think it's May 16th. I probably my notes here.
Mary, do you know the date?
I gave you all the flyer for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Historical.
The reenactment.
So again, I just feel like, there are ways that they're doing things now that we can support. And I just thought, to be able to support, we need to be aware. So I thought that would be a good thing to be involved in. Because basically, Alan comes to DD and that's when we have our historical meeting. I thought we gotta do more than that. That's where I get my updates.
Yeah, and actually, when you mentioned about updates and staying informed, I think that's something that we really need to return to how we used to do things with committees, which we used to have committee meetings, always had to have minutes. And I think we need to get back to that. And that was even mentioned, I think, in our audit.
It's in our rules.
Who is not doing that now, Larry?
It's in our rules to do it.
I looked online and I could not find any new committee meetings minutes posted since like 2022. So I don't know what happened to all the committee meeting minutes.
I don't think
all
they're
those years.
posted, I think they go into the file, that, you know, these
Yeah.
are the minutes and
But I
this
mean,
is-
we used to get them in our packets.
Oh, I see.
We haven't seen those for quite some time. At the very least, if we have those and we have them, then they should at least be posted up on Documents on Demand once we have our access, so we can review those
All right.
and stay up to date.
Yep, okay.
You know, sitting in a file doesn't keep us informed very well, unfortunately.
No, and good luck with the Personnel Committee, because there's a whole lot of stuff you can't break down.
I was on the Personnel Committee before, and it was during a very tumultuous period of time with personnel, and I can say this, it was sometimes very challenging trying to put together meeting minutes that did not devolve
Yes.
personal information. It's very
exactly.
challenging. But a lot of the stuff, if we can get past some of these issues, are things that are pretty more routine, hopefully.
I'll go on the evaluation committee with Alex and Linda.
And Ashley.
Ashley,
No,
she
Ashley-
she went to
Ashley-
personnel with Larry.
Changed your mind.
Yeah.
Ashley's
Because,
personnel
no,
would
because
be,
this is
and,
more of a limited thing and I actually
That's
have
fine
all
with me.
the
Still,
info to
So just as
Give you guys.
a point of clarity, we're considering standing committees of streets, IT, parks and rec, personnel. It sounds like historical, is that was put out
Right,
as
yeah.
standing? And
That-
then
that-
ad
That's all in
hoc.
our current rules of procedure.
Yeah,
We just gotta look through the
And I'm just trying to clarify, because there was a lot of,
IT.
went a lot of different
yeah,
ways.
IT
And then
website.
the ad hoc is this evaluation committee and a DPW committee?
correct.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that right, so we can get it in the notes right. Perfect. And then the pro tem, does it default back to the situation that we had, or is there not one?
No,
I'm not sure how that
It
works.
defaults.
It defaults back, okay,
We're
thank you.
just maintaining.
That'll help
I mean,
us
we
have
to
clear
one,
minutes.
That's all.
What's that?
We have to have one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we could get clear minutes, and I didn't feel like I was that clear, so I don't want to speak for Caleb, but.
Yeah, actually, we're
So
supposed to do that
we need to make a
annually for pro
motion.
tem. It states in
Well,
general
for the
language
committees, we should,
that we're
looking at
supposed to
it.
do pro tem every year.
yes, in November or soon thereafter. Do we want a motion on these committees and ad hocs so that we have it?
Fine by me.
Make a motion.
Right. So.
A motion that refers to the minutes for the.
Do you want
Instead
that
of
for
trying to
the
include
minutes
all
or
of those.
no?
Well, that's what
Actually,
I
that's a
think,
good.
that's what I just tried to cover, so that you don't have to.
Did you
try to make
capture
them.
all of the committee?
Then I will
people?
not do
Okay.
and you captured the motion
And it
of,
goes on them.
pro tem.
I've got them too, and we
Very
have the
good.
recording,
Okay.
so we can, I
You guys
was just
just
recommending
check.
that no one has to make a motion remembering all of that, that's all.
Well, can we all
You-
got it
Well, I
written
mean,
down?
do we want to?
We're good.
We can just go as presented.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's why that's the only reason I was asking if they captured everything. If they do, great, we can do it as.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the committee assignments as agreed and presented.
Support. Okay, roll call vote on this.
Green,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. All right, move to pass the committee assignments takes us to new business, and the DDA Board of Directors met in January and picked their appointment class of 2030. I'm not so sure I even know what that means. They selected Courtney McLaren to be, looks like the president or the chairman, and Dave Wilson is the assistant or vice chairman.
have a question, or do we probably need to
Can I make a
or
motion? I move that the following individuals be recommended to the village CEO by the Ortonville DDA Board of Directors in accordance with the DDA bylaws to be reappointed as the class of 2030, serving a 4-year term to end at the DDA annual meeting, January 2030. Support.
Okay, that's
The
their
question is, are we recommending or are we actually appointing?
point.
I think that
I think they
wording is-
recommended
They
for us to do it.
recommended.
I think should we change the motion, say that we?
Yes, so I changed that from recommended to, it just said recommended motion, so I thought
Yes.
I'd read it. Anyway, change that to a point instead of.
Yeah, okay.
My question is, we have these same people year after year after year after year. Why are we even bothering? I mean, I thought they held
It
elections.
seems like a
And
fruitless
yet,
effort to some
nobody
degree.
moves.
Yeah, no, kind of been that same for
It
4
is,
years.
Just,
Well,
I think
no,
it might, you know.
No, anytime they, so this is according to the DDA bylaws, they have to create classes of different people whose term ends at different times.
Right,
And
staggered.
so all they're saying is that Courtney and David's times are wrapping up and they want to
Okay.
continue that to 2030.
Similar like our planning commission.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's
often.
just a requirement, from what I understand, and it's just basically saying they want to continue to serve and
Okay.
we will, they recommend that we allow them to continue to serve and we say, sure, go ahead.
But I
It
agree
says-
with you, Kay, I'm not sure how once the president of the DDA is there, are they forever president?
I don't know, because this is.
But that's what, yeah, it's like.
Board
No,
of
that-
directors,
that
so.
changed.
Yeah,
It hasn't.
this has nothing to do with
With the
whether
motion?
Courtney's a president or not.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, that has not
I
changed.
think it does.
I
I
do
think
too.
it's naming her as the
No,
director
it's-
class of
no.
2030.
It's just saying that the two of them are gonna, because then what's Dave Wilson?
He was the treasurer, I don't know if that changed.
I thought he was still the treasurer.
He is, I'm just saying, I guess we should have asked this morning, but from what I understood is that, we do this every time,
Well, we do. And
So
this
we
is
just
from back in
support-
January.
we support, who they want to continue to be part of the DDA.
Okay, they are an umbrella under us, so, we do get a little say.
I support anyone who wants to volunteer their time.
Right on.
For sure.
That
And I
is
think
the
our
truth.
DDA, just today, Ken was talking about, they're on top of, doing their grants, they're doing some great events.
I have no complaints against the
They have a lot of great stuff going on,
Yeah,
so
they do.
I think supporting those who want to serve is easy.
Okay, we got through the
You have a
that's
motion and support so
We
far.
had a motion with support,
And that
but
was
did we do the A and the A? Did we do that?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
what was the motion again?
To approve as presented.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You read
Or
that up.
appoint as presented.
Yeah, wait.
There was a motion for Courtney and Dave Wilson for assignments, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those two folks are going to continue on till 2030 in their capacities.
They may take their.
That's up to them too. Takes us to item 12, which is the manager's report. There's 4 items on here, and I'll turn it over to the village manager, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, so I recognize it's almost 9 o'clock, so I'm
It's okay.
want to present these well. But the first 2 items are coming from the DDA executive director. They were initially on a different part of our agenda, but we moved them down to manager's report, so they're informative. So you have, first is the Access to Transit program. This has got some information about what the program is. It's essentially a non-matching grant, so it's money that we don't have to match. It's from the county, and it's part of the transit tax that everyone's paying. So I forget what the millage is for that, but everyone pays that as part of your county tax, and this is an opportunity to get some of it back for the village. The issue we're looking to address is that sidewalk directly in front of the old mill. I'm sure everyone here is very much familiar with it. As you're walking down that sidewalk, you end up walking on the plank of their property there and then have to go down some very nice steps. And we've looked at different ways to try to fix that, address it by being able to bump out the sidewalk. This is basically a grant program that we're that the DDA is applying for, but obviously the village being the property owner, they want to make sure that we're involved and know what's going on. And so the pitch is to expand the sidewalk out to make it walkable, make it attractive, probably with some planting. But it all depends on the measurement. You know, basically every square foot we can put, still having the appropriate lane there, is what we want to kind of move out to be able to provide better access on that sidewalk. So the first couple pages there are just, you know, some historical information about it. The page that is a map has several items on it. Understand this is, I want to say it's a vision, it's a dream presentation. This is not, they're not saying we're committed to building this transit stop or any of these other items that are on there. It's just information for you to see things that are going on in other communities, things that are part of these grants. But I think and I don't want to speak for the director, but I'm pretty comfortable in saying the aim right now is to get help with the engineering of how we can make it work. It's not necessarily that we're on the step of trying to build something like the exemplars you see there. Those are just, he wanted to give you representations of what's going on under this access to transit program. So,
How much is the grant?
it's based on what we come up with as far as what needs to be engineered. The number we came up with so far was 60,000. That's what we're asking for.
Okay. And when is
Well, I shouldn't say that's what we're asking for. That's the number I gave when he asked me about an estimate for the cost of putting that sidewalk there. I don't have his information, unless it's in this packet, of exactly what he's applied for and what kind of money is available.
There's not details, but do you know when the end date is?
For the grant window, I don't.
Okay.
I like I say, I wanted to be helpful and present his information to you, but I
And
don't
that's fine.
have
We
that
can
answer.
all look it up or call him. And then on things like this, is Larry, our streets representative, is he involved when?
So Larry and I have talked about this very thing a few times. This is, I don't know if this came up this morning at the DDA meeting or if it came up at their last one, but this is Matt and the DDA saying, hey, here's a way we might be able to help with this. So certainly the streets committee would
bring
be.
you in on that.
Yeah, certainly we'd be part of the planning.
This is when I first heard about it.
Right, this is an
I wasn't
introduction to this. That's why I said this is informative only. So this is
Okay.
a introduction to this program that Matt has said, hey, this is something that we should go ahead and apply for. And we being the DDA, but he wanted to kind of
Yeah,
first
and I had
let us
suggested-
know.
I had suggested in the past this exact same concept
Mhm.
of routing sidewalk around and using some kind of tech grants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's
It
something
is
that,
something that we have talked about between me and the manager. and-
But you would have great input on this, especially during this phase right now with Matt, so it's important
Right.
that you two
Yep.
talk. 'Cause
Yeah.
yeah, and
You
so
have
that's part of my
That's why I was
follow-up.
very glad to see this.
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
I think we've needed it for years. You can't, somebody who's handicapped can't continue on, can't
Right.
get through the south side of Mill Street in and out of town because of the situation that you got there.
Yep, so now that he's kind of presented this and told us this opportunity is there, that is, my next step was to chat with Larry about, okay, now let's bring in the ideas we talked about so that we can
Okay,
all
great.
kind of work together on what it could look like. And again, then if there's alternate funding from TAP, we
Or
certainly
some
want to
contest
tap
going
into that.
too.
That is,
And as I
some
said,
TAP is,
I've also heard that from some COG folks about TAP grants, that if you can roll together multiple things to make a bigger size project, you'll have a better chance of getting
Yes.
a grant.
Larry,
And so that's why I suggested, I don't know if that would apply to this one or not, but I mean,
Check
the
it.
concept of crosswalks at some points in the villages too will be something that could be rolled into this if that's.
At the meeting this morning, he did also mention that there's another grant that is available, that this falls into, that addresses pedestrian safety. Because if you have a stroller, you gotta walk in the street. So they have, so that's what when Ken was mentioning, they're just on top of how to fund projects, so.
yeah, and I think essentially TAP is the same. There's transportation alternatives. And so it's the same ideas. It's just two different pools of money we can draw from because TAP comes from all of the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, whereas the access to transit is coming just from the Oakland County Transit Network.
Right.
So
And we have
Why not?
the T-Mobile out right now and the Community Foundation from the AARP. So it could be that one but it was in their minutes, but I think, that they were applying for both, but I'm not sure.
ARP was for the Wi-Fi.
For the challenge
Both
grant,
of those
yeah,
two.
and then Mobile. So I don't know which other
Yeah,
one it
T-Mobile
was.
is downtown Wi-Fi and sound.
Yeah,
They have a GM on Main Street grant that they applied for in a public spaces community
right,
crowdfunding. That's the one that, the crowdfunding one is the one that would apply here.
okay, very good, yep.
The next item in there is the Heritage Park redevelopment. It's something we've been talking about for several months now.
Years.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Years.
Yeah, years. That's from a flower garden, right, is what it used to be to now. We've had a lot of conversations. So we had, we put out an RFP to about the 9, I think it was, different engineering firms that we could identify locally who might take this project on. Only 2 of them were interested in submitting for it. We were kind of too small potatoes for the rest of them. And what you have in front of you is just kind of an update, an informational update between the 2. Director Jenkins put out a poll just to the 6 members who were actively involved in hearing the pitches from the 2 engineering firms. And it sounds like they have a preference, so Director Jenkins and I will be working on what it looks like to get into an engagement letter. Remind you, this is grant money from Oakland County, and forgive me for not remembering the exact, I think it's Main Street, Oakland County. It is a $112,000 grant, I believe. It is a matching grant, and they are, so everything is in engineering and construction. The whole thing is, the grant dollars are eligible to be used for all of it. So this will probably be, I know the package here, it looks like it's around $200,000 is their initial suggestion. So that means that there's about 88 between the village and the DDA or any other fundraising efforts that we would have to look for. And certainly we've talked about community fundraising efforts and some other things. But we are at a point now where we need to move forward with selecting and engaging and getting some of the drawings done, getting some of the initial engineering work done, the testing of the ground and the other things, even though we all believe it's virgin property because we don't think anything's ever been built on it, but we've got to do some testing to find that out. So that's the phase we're at now. So that group has made that decision, and again, Director Jenkins wanted to give you this as informative, and then I'll be providing an update as we move forward into identifying the next steps and kind of what the plan's going to look like.
So for a functioning pavilion and restrooms and storage compartment, that's $200,000.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
107.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the hardscape and furnishing, so it's the whole property, the hardscaping and softscape
This little piece
landscaping.
of property right next to this building.
Correct.
I know where we're talking about.
Yeah, and so again, this is their initial pitch. We haven't necessarily had feedback about, okay, what does that look like and what tweaks would we want to make and what, even telling them an exact budget, we didn't give them that. We said that, if they were going to be around 200,000, that was a range we would look at, but obviously we may have some cost control opportunity in there.
And yeah, I talked to Matt a little bit about this, and I think this is another thing that, we have been involved in because the DDA is under our umbrella, as nobody likes to say. But they also are looking for our support in different ways, and I think we need more clarity on what Matt Jenkins is looking for in support. But he did mention that to me again. There's some sort of deadline, and I don't know how far along we have to be, but it says this agreement runs through September 26th of 2026. So if we don't get moving, we're going to lose it.
Right, and that's what I was saying.
Right.
There's some.
That's the
It's time to
open
get
grant.
started on, getting someone committed and getting the engineering working done. So as long as we have, I think it's $86,000 that they'll pay up front, as long as we have engaged it by that certain date. So that's where Director Jenkins and I have been working on that timeline.
And they voted on us officially, just so that, because it was coming to us.
Yeah, and this is part of when initially the Heritage Garden proposal was presented several years ago, and council approved it.
Yep.
This is part of it.
Yep.
So I'm just really happy to see.
Well, we didn't approve the dollar amount back then, did we? The
Oh, yeah, we have an
$200,000?
estimate of yeah, it's all in that package, that
Yeah.
we, all of
Definitely.
us received.
that one was a little over 400,000 is
Yeah.
what came out of that.
But there's also more than just this part. I mean,
Right, we're
the
saying,
front,
okay, we can do
the
this thing in
trees,
phases.
the tables, and it was 4 phases that was presented,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, you're right, there's much more.
yeah.
The next item is a revisit, items I gave you the Wednesday night meeting, which was the letter we got from the Treasury, identifying a deficiency. When I worked with Maynard, who worked with our auditor, to kind of understand what happened, there was a clerical input error and then a question was answered with a yes instead of a no. That yes triggered that letter. Obviously, it was, when you do the math, it was easy to see that no should have been the answer and no letter should have been triggered. So the second document you have, as I gave you the other day, this is the letter that we wrote per Maynard's recommendation, just that we received it, here's the facts behind it, and also we added further that the incorrect budget was used. So they had information basically was that we had spent a unauthorized amount of money, and that's because that question was answered, obviously, like I said, incorrectly by the auditor who submitted that, and then the budget numbers they used were the original and not the amended budget. So we should get response that was received and noted as a non-issue as soon as the Treasury handles that. I'm not sure what their timeline is like. The next item you have rules of procedure
Can I
and.
ask one question about
Sorry?
that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, the one from the Treasury Department says it's dated December 29th.
Right.
And then the response says.
Yeah, the
You're
email,
receiving 14 email notice
February
February
14th.
right.
14th. So
That's
what
the day that
happened?
we got our first notification of it.
So you never got this one?
Correct.
initially?
We never got notification of either of them. The strange thing was, and I showed, Trustee Nivelt was in to see in their portal, they actually have both of these letters, one dated for December 29th and one dated as a second notice, January 29th.
Right.
They were both uploaded December 29th, and they have to do with the audit findings, which were not uploaded yet at that point. So it was very odd, and that's what the folks from Maynard said. It was odd, but luckily it was an easy fix. So the first notice we got was Friday the afternoon on the 14th at 4,
How do you
whatever it was.
receive notice of that though? Because
So-
I know I sent you what I saw on social media,
Mhm.
and I said, I'm concerned, do you know
Right.
anything about this?
Right, and we didn't. And so they
Right,
have
so how
a,
did you receive?
they sent an
your
email
notice?
notification, which is their version of notice. It says in there we sent via email.
Right, but you didn't get that, so how did you?
We got the one on
get it
February
the
14th at 4:44, was an email.
It was an email.
Yeah, and so then that directs you to a portal, which I didn't have a login for because it's something our auditors go in and submit things on our behalf. So once I got access to it and saw it, I saw, oh, here's these two letters.
So did the auditors get these letters and not give them to you?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so because it says in the letter that we notify only via email the village, but I can ask them that. So the one you saw on Facebook was somebody was in the portal and saw it and printed it off, but didn't tell us, unfortunately. You had a question?
So are we just supposed to assume it's corrected?
Well, so we sent that letter of correction, which is what it
Have you heard
requires.
anything from?
Not yet, no, and that's, we submitted it
Or
on,
Lansing?
yeah, so it was Tuesday or Wednesday was the day that we submitted it. So that's where I said I don't know their timeline. I don't know how long it takes
We
them to
don't have a
respond.
date on it here somewhere.
But it's, yeah, so this would have been Wednesday. I'm sorry. Yes, yeah, I submitted it on Wednesday. Even though I was on administrative leave, but it needed to be answered, so I answered it.
Can we put dates on things? Because
Yeah,
that
you
really is
should've- yeah,
helpful.
you should've put a-
It has a
Yes.
date when it was submitted. You're right that the letter doesn't have it, but it's
Okay.
dated in the portal because it was a submission. You click on it to open it and you type it in, and I just printed it out, so
What date did you say it was? You sent this in? The no.
Wednesday was the
Wednesday.
That would have to be the,
2019th?
Wednesday was the 18th.
so Friday's the
18th.
14th,
It's the
so it's
18th.
in the following?
It was the 18th, because I have.
Okay.
So it's written
So I can send you a picture from the portal that it's submitted, but we don't know how long they take to reply.
And
So
you said you invited them to next meeting in March, right?
Correct. At the president's request, I invited, Ken Palka's his name. I don't know if it would be him or one of his staff that comes, but I did invite them. I have not heard back from them as far as if they will come, but I would assume.
Usually they come every year. I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't want to come.
Right.
But we've used different auditors in the past.
Yeah, this is a new auditor. It's the first time we've used them. So. Am I good to move on? Okay. The last item on there is rules of procedure and Open Meetings Act handbook. I printed these off because enough of you have requested hard copies of them, so I thought we'll just put them together. What that leads to is the fact that I've been building a elected official training portal that it's a shared drive basically, where I can put in files and documents like this, things that will have, our actual rules, and then also like MML elected official rules and things like that. Not that, I think at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to educate yourself, but I think I should be supporting you as best I can by trying to pull some of those materials together. So that's been a long-term project that's kind of been simmering in the background. I've got probably 20 documents in it right now. And that's part of when we get get our access to the website. There's two parts to our documents on demand. One is public facing and one is confidential. So there's things that you all will have a login, and I think it was Trustee Nivelt that pointed out to me that, or maybe it was Hayden, I don't remember, I'm sorry, that everybody should have this login, and I hadn't heard of it, and I looked and see that I think only one or two of you have ever had one. So that'll be something that you have access to, that documents on demand, where anything that is either confidential or it's your packet that's not necessarily a public packet or items like that will be in there, and it will only be in there where only the 8 of us can access it. That's where those training materials will be. So,
The newly elected, we had talked about this, that they are supposed to be getting a packet with Robert's rules, the OMA that you have here, also ZBA, because we are ZBA. And I know at one point Amber did have a packet pulled together, because I had actually gone through the list with her.
Yep.
I don't know if that continued, if that stopped. I don't know.
A lot of things were deleted, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean we don't have access to it, or that was deleted.
Oh, yeah, those are easy. I can email those to you.
Right.
But when Ashley came on, did she get a packet?
I did in 2024.
Yeah, the first time.
Okay, you did.
I did the first time.
Okay, all right. Good.
So that's something that you notified me about a couple days ago. So I'm making sure we still have that in our drive, or I'll reach out to Ms. Wilson about getting access to it if I can't find it. But that is something we talked about today. So
yeah, actually, that's one thing I like about electronic documentation, because you could just embed the links right in there. So right into your document, you can just click on the
right, and any updates can be live updated too. So the only other couple things that are important, the salt issue I mentioned before. We just found out today, Detroit Salt, who provides us all of our salt, they came back with a second denial. They said we can't sell you anything. We've got nothing because we used 130% of our quota. And everybody else in Southeast Michigan has used 130% of their quota, so they have nothing. They're not fulfilling orders right now. So we started looking for sourcing in other places, and unfortunately, the people that have salt are gouging like 4 to 5 times the price right now. So we're going to keep working on making what we got last and trying to find someone who's not gouging. If we end up having to, we might have to. But
Oakland County doesn't do any salt. It's this Detroit salt.
They get it from Detroit Salt. Yeah.
They get it from.
Yeah, it's just a massive yard, but because everybody has used so much more. Because I think I mentioned before, Road Commission of Oakland County came out with a directive 2 weeks ago now that just says this is the coldest, longest duration of cold weather winter and earliest in the year that we've had in 87 years or something like that. And nobody saw it coming as far as being prepared. They're somewhere at 175% of their budget for salt and brine, and I want to say 250% of their budget for overtime hours. We're not quite that bad, but we are definitely, what we've done is clear the roads. And we're getting in a situation where, gosh, we're going to have to figure out where the money's going to come from. There may be some things that are left in our budget that we may have to choose not to do the rest of this year.
But it's not even so much the money as
to cover that.
Find it anyway.
Right, it's both, yeah. And so then the one thing I wanted to talk to you folks about is what do we do? In other words, we've talked before that sidewalks are not necessarily something we guarantee we do. It's something we've done to be nice. So do we stop salting the sidewalks? Do we stop salting side streets and only do the main ones because we may get to a point where we don't have options? So I'm hoping that we can find a vendor, and I would implore all of you and anybody in the room who's hearing me, if you know of vendors to call and you know of places, we could definitely use the help finding it. The quote we got today, I don't remember the exact, but it was 4.5 times what we normally pay. I want to say we normally get 250 tons at a time, and we pay $3,000, and Bedrock, our neighbor up here, they wanted almost $15,000 for that same amount. So maybe it is what it is. Maybe we have to bite the bullet and we have to continue maintaining everything 100%, or maybe we have to cut back a little bit because we just don't have the option if we can't find more. So,
Well, the good thing is that at least if the days get warm enough.
right, days are getting longer. And when I got here at 6:30, there was still a little sunshine out, so it's promising.
I was just going to say, you don't have to necessarily clear and salt in order
Right.
for the roads clear.
Right.
If you get them cleared off, the ambient light and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, a few days when it's sunny.
Clear
that's
everything
great.
we've been clearing, but
Right.
then.
But like
salt-
yesterday, we were supposed to get snow for an hour, and it snowed for 30 hours. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just, yeah.
So,
Well, I did my share. I cleared my sidewalk this morning and I saw that they did not need to put salt in front of my house. They
Right.
did on either side, but
Could
I was
we
already
use,
cleared by ambient.
dirt in certain intersections that we know?
Yeah.
Can we
Or
do a
sand.
plan B, dirt,
that
sand?
is something that Mr. Huxwell talked about. He did say that dirt is disastrous, but it may be something we just have to suck it up and do
But I
and
mean,
deal
just
with.
if
But
the four ways in the
Mhm.
corners,
Right.
or, you know, the.
Check
Yeah.
the legalities of that though, because I've heard there's some rule or something that you can't do both. You can't do salt and you can't do dirt at the same time. I don't know. That's just what I heard,
okay.
and I've certainly not looked into it.
Yeah. Look at Eric Street down here.
I know. Yeah, I do think that, I mean, there are a lot of people who walk and sidewalks are good, but I do think that, making sure our streets are passable is more important.
Right.
Yeah,
And we don't, I'm not saying we're at a point where we have to prioritize this week, but we may be there real
Well,
close.
you know,
So.
it depends how much freezing rain we get.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah. The speed issue on Mill, yes, we've talked about crosswalk, stop signs, speed humps. Ball and Mill both have been the long-term complaints. As you all know, it's come up at several meetings, and in most of those meetings, Lieutenant Glover was there and talked about the issue from their perspective. Ball is the next 1 or 2 streets to get done. And so adding in speed humps for the paving project. So adding in speed humps, if that's something we want to consider when we do that, or crosswalk and stop signs. I mean, the beautiful thing about a crosswalk is that we can just paint it. It costs us almost nothing because we already have the paint. We can add them anywhere. We would have to buy the stop signs, which aren't a huge investment, but that's something we can do. And frankly, if this council wanted to, we could put a 4-way stop at every single intersection in the village. Yeah, you have that right. I think you'd probably have some people complaining on the other side of it, but
we also talked about what do you call it, the road.
the speed sign, right? And there's a lot of.
No,
Oh, sorry.
Speed bumps, no, not the, what do you call it when it?
Rumble strips?
Thank you, rumble strip, thank you.
Yeah, so
Yes, we talked about those.
Yeah, and
slow
the
down
3 most
speed.
appropriate places would be coming off of Grange Hall onto Mill,
Yep,
coming off of 15 onto Narren, and
Onto
15
Narren,
onto South, right? Now, South, those weird angles are slowing cars down a little bit
Yeah.
anyway.
I don't think that's a.
I haven't heard that many complaints from there, but the other 2 are the ones that.
Mill Street. Rumble strips, I'd say some.
Yeah,
people
rumble
as
strips
well.
is something that, as we pave it, we carve them in. Now, you can go back and cut them in.
And from 115.
But so what I was saying about Ball
Horrible ones.
and then Mill is, do we want to, I mean, there could be temporary fixes, yes, but we also want to look at what's a permanent, do we want to make these
But we
permanent?
need to do something
items.
instead of thinking about it for another year.
Correct,
So
something
the streets
in the
committee
immediate
needs to
and
work on
something
that and
long.
bring it back to us.
I will say that I received a photograph on my phone from a neighbor who lives on Church Street. She said, "Hey, we finally nabbed someone," and showed a picture of someone pulled over. in front of her house.
What's funny is I've noticed probably 5 times this week that there is a deputy sitting up on Church Street, and where I haven't seen one before. And I'm not saying they're not there, just the time of day I come, I haven't seen that before, but I have seen an increased presence. So we certainly appreciate that community help. I was going to go back and just say that, just to be fair, because I'm pretty intense about protecting my staff, the deputy treasurer has been deputy treasurer for 6 days now. So I don't want people to think that she's been in that position forever. She's learning. There's several things in the treasurer she's never seen before, so that's part of her discomfort. I just wanted to protect her by putting that out there. And then again, I wanted to touch base with Treasurer DePalma came up, and there was confusion from the meeting the other night that unfairly drew her in. I don't want to necessarily put judgment on the one that I didn't hear the whole conversation of, but I think there were two things that she was unfairly drawn into, and I just want to apologize. My part of it was just misunderstanding, that I thought that the letter that you referenced, Trustee Nivelt referenced from the Treasury, I thought that actually that came from Mr. Palma, and it did not.
No, I told you exactly where I got it from off
I'm not
social
talking
media.
about what came from you.
Yeah, okay, well, you just said that I referenced it, okay.
You referenced the letter, I'm just saying that letter.
Okay.
But I just want to apologize, because I actually, when I brought your name in saying that, anyway, it was an important part of the story, but unfortunately it unfairly made you look bad, and that was not only my intent, but I own the fact that I said that, and I should not have, because you were not involved. So thank you for continuing to work with me, regardless of me accidentally dragging you through the mud on that. And that's the end of the manager report.
Motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
President,
Yes.
I got one sentence that I overlooked that is an important item in that,
Well, Bob,
in the marijuana.
we have not adjourned yet, so you're well within
And
your.
I'll read it real quick. The commercial marijuana related activities shall not be within 1,400 feet of a major
intersection.
And I wrote the damn thing. But that eliminates any marijuana licenses to be up at South and Granger.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My gosh, and I was right here helping you and forgot. Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
Did we?
Do you want clarification on the DDA? Who you bring in? Do you want clarification on the DDA? You guys appointing people?
The DDA vote that you made to accept those appointments, she's saying she has clarification on some of the questions, if you are interested in hearing.
Okay, so you appoint every 4 years, every year we appoint people for 4 years. I came in 2025, so I have 4 years. People are coming in 2026 and they have 4 years. You appoint them to the board, and then every January we elect who's president, who's treasurer, who's vice president. So you guys just appoint to the board.
My comment was just they keep appointing the same people to
Yeah.
the board,
Well, that's
even
just
though
good.
they vote other people in as the vice president
No,
or
you
whatever
guys
it's
are
called.
appointing to the board, and then we
I
elect
thought
who's willing
I thought I
to.
clarified that.
Right,
their own
Right, but with the DDA, we were just curious, how does the president, is the president always,
No, it changes.
because it hasn't
Well, it hasn't
changed
changed
for,
in
I
years.
don't know, 10 years?
No, I mean, it is.
I
No,
don't
it
think it's been that long,
Yeah, it
but
is.
it's also who wants to do it, who has time. to do
Right
it.
on, and
That's true,
that's
too.
probably,
And that's part of the reason why people are coming back on again too, because it's hard to find people to do it.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
it's
Same issues we have with
That's
planning
how it
commission at times, is trying to find people who are willing and.
with anything, to run for an elected,
I mean,
That's
these
right.
are all volunteer, the DA's all
As I said, as far as I know, they're all volunteers.
okay, we know
should
that.
support them as much as possible.
Yes, we do, we always have.
Yes, we have.
You also all have some handouts from tonight. There's a couple more over here that I didn't have enough copies of. If anyone's interested in taking any of those, please come check those out. RCOC and Oakland Transit, they're just materials that all of you, can have, but I didn't get enough copies to give everybody one. And if you don't want it, your packet or the separation sheets, then leave them behind and I'll take care of getting them handled.
You want me to leave it behind?
If you're done with it,
With the purple
Yeah.
things? Oh.
I can reuse them is all, but it's okay. It's not that
I'll
important.
bring
Just,
them in sometime. I'll organize them. I was doing that while I was sitting here. If I'd known, I would have just kept that file, so.
Okay, that leads us to item 13 on the agenda. That
Make a
is,
motion to adjourn.
Support?
moved and supported for this meeting to be over. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the meeting ends.